And even Floyd's number indicates he's a running back, but he's also more. Meet Lucius Floyd, the receiver. This season, Floyd has 35 catches for 419 yards. That's top 10 in the CFL. This season, Mike Farragelli's Argos have had one major problem, the kicking game. Wayne Lamley was inconsistent. 5 days after beating Memphis on the final play of the game, Lamley missed a 35-yarder to beat Hamilton. Changes had to be made. So enter Terry Baker, the field goal maker from Ottawa. Ron Lancaster, the legend, knows a lot about quarterbacking. He also knows enough about coaching to make changes when he has to. Tonight, Chris Vargas will start for the Eskimos, replacing former first-stringer Kerwin Bell. For now, Lancaster's given the job to Vargas. It is now his team.
CFL Live. Tonight's game from Skydome in Toronto. The Edmonton Eskimos versus the Toronto Argonauts.
Good evening and welcome to the CFL Live on TSN. I'm Darren DeTish and glad you tuned in tonight for the Edmonton Eskimos and the Toronto Argonauts. You know, the game of football is all about change, and 6 games into the CFL schedule, the Eskimos have done just that. Starting second-year quarterback Chris Vargas tonight in favor of Kerwin Bell. With 2 losses in their last 3 games, Bell believed that he was the scapegoat, but Ronnie Lancaster believes the team just needs an offensive spark. At times, Vargas has been just that. Tonight, Vargas is featured in our key matchup. He goes up against the Argos defensive line. Last week, Swift Birch, I love that name, and Carlos Fowler combined for 7 sacks. With the Eskimos missing 2 starters on the offensive line, Vargas could be in for a long night. For more on the game, including some changes with the Argos, let's go to John Wells and Leif Pedersen at Skydome. Gentlemen?
Darren, I think it's going to be interesting to watch this game tonight and see if the Argo team and the coaching staff has a little more confidence in the kicking game with Terry Baker in there instead of Wayne Lamley.
Well, John, I think mentally it's going to help them right off the bat because there's no question Terry Baker has the credibility. His teammates know that he has had a lot more consistency throughout his career, and this graphic bears that out. Much better punter and, of course, more consistent in the field goal department. However, let's not forget Wayne Lamley this year was 9 of 13. Baker's only been 9 of 15. So he still has to prove himself.
All right, when you look at the Edmonton Eskimos, special teams are always special when they bring the giz.
Well, you know, Edmonton really divides the game 3 ways: offense, defense, and special teams, and they always feel like they can win the defensive battle and the special teams battle with Henry Williams, and if they win 2 out of those 3, they feel like they can win any game, and it's true.
What we've got here tonight, Darren, 2 solid defenses and 2 offenses still looking to put a few more points on the board.
Thanks very much, gentlemen. On now to our game story. Lucius Floyd and Michael Souls, they have to take some of the heat off Vargas. Floyd, 7th in the league in rushing, 10th in the league in receptions. Jock Climby returns to the Argos lineup tonight. He'll take some of the pressure off Paul Mazzotti. And in their first meeting of the season, the Eskimos' special teams were dominant. Toronto has to improve in that area. Let's go to John and Leif for the opening kickoff. Guys?
All right, Darren, second meeting of the season for the Eskimos and the Argonauts. Edmonton won round 1, 45-23 in week 1. And Ron Lancaster and this group of Eskimos have never played in the Skydome with the lid open. He'll get a chance to do it tonight.
Well, I think he's relishing playing with the lid open because traditionally this place is a hot place to play, not a lot of airflow, and he always complained when his Edmonton teams came in here. They seemed a little sluggish, so now with the roof open tonight, there's no excuses. Everybody should be fresh and ready to go.
And Argo head coach Mike Farragelli, the youngest in Canadian football at 36 years of age, has had his ups and downs in a very young career as a head coach in the Canadian Football League. We're set for the kickoff and a beautiful blue sky over Skydome tonight as we look up at the CN Tower and down now to Terry Baker in blue for the very first time. Started his career with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and then spent most of the rest of it until this week in Ottawa. And the Giz, Henry Williams, on pace for another CFL record just about every time he touches the ball.
Yeah, he could do that on this kickoff. 68 yards.
Terry Baker set for his first kick as a Toronto Argonaut. Coming down to the Giz at the 25. Electric already. There's a marker down, however, as the Giz comes across midfield. It is Baker trying to run him down, and Baker forcing him out, but there's a flag, folks, back at the 40-yard line. 53-yard return after a 51-yard kickoff, but I think it's coming back, Lieber.
Yeah, it really is. A pretty electrifying way to start the game. But Henry Williams, 68 yards to be 5th all-time on the kickoff return list. Thought he might have it there, but of course this flag will bring it back.
Illegal block. Edmonton number 32. First down.
Tonight's starting lineup brought to you by Mr. Sub. Fresh thinking is what we are. Chris Vargas gets his first start for the Eskimos. He has been very effective as a backup to Kerwin Bell. We'll see what being the starter means. Chris Green and Steve Krupe. Starting roles in the offensive line due to injuries. Rookie Shalon Baker and veteran Jim Sandusky outside for the Eskimos. And running back Lucius Floyd, a fine receiver in his own right. 1st and 10 Edmonton. And then Michael Souls for a couple of yards. Defensively for the Argos, Jeff Cummins and Swift Birch have provided a good pass rush in 6 games so far. Joe Sardo and Calvin Tiggo playing superbly at the linebacking spots. Joe Merrow and Maurice Kelly are the starting cornerbacks for the Argos.
It's the best defense Toronto's had on the field this year.
This is 2nd and 5 as Vargas looked for Jim Sandusky. And Vargas was nailed throwing the pass. Sandusky looking for a little interference, but nothing was called.
John, it's interesting how Chris Vargas has worked his way up the ladder. Last year was the number 3 quarterback and actually only threw 19 balls all season long, but has played in every Eskimo game so far this year in their first 6 games. And you know, Ron Lancaster just kind of felt that Kerwin Bell needed to sit on the sidelines and a bit of a change of pace. Vargas much more mobile than Bell, and I think that running ability will stand him in good stead in this game because he's against a pretty tough front 4 tonight.
Glenn Harper's kick. Not deep, but a little wobbly. Bouncing to the pinball, Mike Clemens. He's hit immediately, and markers go down. But Clemens, not quite until he's at the 30-yard line. Cavis Reed leading the tacklers there. Ken Austin tries to get the Argo bomb squad flying again after a tough overtime loss in Hamilton. Mike Dumoulin gets his first start along the offensive line. Paul Mazzotti, Derek Branch, Jeff Fairholm, and Jacques Climie, an excellent receiving core. And then there's Clemens and Barnes to share the duties running the football.
I don't think there's any question offensively. Again, tonight, the best group they've had together. Jacques Climie back after missing 3 games with a knee injury. And, you know, they have a terrific blend in that backfield with Pinball Clemens and Reggie Barnes. Barnes more of the banger in between the tackles. And then you get a different look with Pinball Clemens, who can take it outside with his speed. So, you know, Ken Austin certainly has a lot of weapons to work with. They just haven't been able to put it all together. And you just keep waiting for the game that they're just going to explode. Maybe tonight's the night.
Interesting that Ken Austin is still looking for his first win as an Argo quarterback. He sat out 1 game. Eric White was in the lineup against the Ottawa Roughriders in week 2.
Well, you look at Austin and how he has progressed last week against Hamilton. He had 459 passing yards. The frustrating part, number 1, you lose the game. Number 2, only 16 points out of all that yardage. So what they have to do, and he knows this better than anyone, is when he gets it into the red zone tonight, forget about Terry Baker. They need some touchdowns, but this is a tough defense to try and do it against. Number 2 in the league.
Austin begins from the shotgun at his own 37. Markers are down, and so is Austin. Benny Goods getting through to the Argo quarterback that time. We'll check out the penalty in a moment. Woods, Goods, Leroy Blue having great seasons along the Eskimo defensive line. The linebackers Larry Ruck and Willie Pless better than ever. Cavis Reed making his second start at right corner, and that moves Robert Holland over to the left cornerback spot.
Yeah, Holland has moved from halfback out to the corner. This is the second game he started out there. Now, naturally, he is a corner, so this isn't a big adjustment for him. And for Darian Hagan, who played the corner for 4 games, he moves inside. That's what he played all 3 seasons. So, although they've made some changes, they're not really drastic ones.
Holding against Toronto declined. And here's another marker and another whistle. So, too many flags already too early in this game. It was 2nd and 14 facing Austin. That time the Eskimos were ruled offside. Referee tonight, Don Ellis, and it was Leroy Blue.
Edmonton number 89. Second down repeated.
So the Argos are back to where they began on this sequence. Actually, they picked up a yard. It's 2nd and 9 now. At the 38. More heat on Austin, but he unloads. And Jock Climby at the 55, getting back into the Argo lineup. He's been out for a while, stopped by Trent Brown. 17 yards for Climby.
And really good to have Climby back into that lineup because he takes a lot of the heat off Jeff Fairholm, giving some good balance to that passing attack all the way across the board. But he did a nice job to read his zone. Edmonton will really mix up their coverages and try and confuse Austin tonight.
Derek Branch to the near side, and Austin went for him. Another marker down on the coverage by Robert Holland.
Robert Holland, an extremely aggressive defensive back. You know, you can do that at the halfback. I think he might have to tone it down just a touch now that he's moved out to the corner. But, I mean, he is a guy that will get up in your face, and he has great acceleration to the football. Got to love the way he plays.
Unintentional forward pass interference. Edmonton number 17, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, maybe we can see it just at the end of the play here.
He gets the left hand in a little bit. I'll tell you, that's pretty chintzy penalty right there. I mean, this isn't a pillow fight out there, and, you know, there's going to be a little bit of contact. I don't know about that one. Don Ellis, the head referee's getting too much airtime already in this game.
I know who hates it. He was just on the screen, Lancaster. The pitch to Barnes, and he's across the 45, met by Larry Ruck in the middle, number 47. Ruck playing solidly for the Eskimos again this season. He's had both knees fixed. Gain of 2. This will be 2nd and 8 Argos. Ball at the Eskimo 44. Austin Mazzotti. Did he hang on? Saying no catch down there for Paul Mazzotti. And one more flag. I'm not sure we missed a play with a penalty here. Without a penalty.
Holding, Toronto number 69, decline, 3rd down.
Joe Burgos getting caught for holding that time.
Well, if nothing else, at least the Argonauts in their opening possession were able to move the ball enough that, you know, Terry Baker coming in for his first punt. He averages 43.7. He's a heck of a punter. He's got a good chance to pin Edmonton deep. Now, the last time we saw Baker, when he kicked to his right, as he's probably going to do right now, he shanked one for 7 yards, and this is the toughest thing that he has to do if he's going to try and put it out of bounds, going to his right. So he goes left.
He goes left, and it's rolling to the far side. Gizmo has a play on it, and a little bit of a seam. There's a big hole for the Giz. Baker's the only man who can catch him, and here comes Baker. Heck of a play. Penalty marker down at the point of the tackle. The kicker stopped the Giz.
Well, John, I really question this strategy. I mean, you know, Baker's bad side is his right side, so they kick it to the wide side of the field, which is really a tough way to have to cover a punt. And, you know, I mean, it didn't even take much of a seam for Williams to get downfield. I mean, I really question the kicking strategy on that play.
The Giz has 68 yards on a sensational punt return, and the Eskimos are set to score. Welcome back to Skydome. Henry Williams has set the Eskimos up inside the Argo 25-yard line with a 68-yard punt return.
I think you see at the end of this play, Terry Baker actually makes a pretty good play, sticks out the foot to try and trip. Well, he's a kicker. You got to use your feet.
Yeah.
His footwork's better than his hand. That's a good play by Terry Baker. He just happened to get caught for it.
The Giz has 6 points. But Edmonton in scoring position here already, opening quarter. Chris Vargas at the controls for the Eskimos. From the Argo 23, Vargas stands in and fires right through the hands of Nick Mazzoli.
And John, this is where Edmonton has really struggled this year. When they get in the red zone, they just haven't had the touchdown production they want. And that's one of the reasons why Sean Fleming has 25 field goal attempts. Only Carlos Huerta has more. But, you know, he's been 21 of 25, having a great year. But they've got to start scoring a few more touchdowns. And what an opportunity this is for them.
Mazzoli and Salon Baker to the near side on 2nd and 10 Edmonton at the Argo 23. C.J. Davis. Davis has to fight for extra yards, and he'll come up a little bit short of the first down. Stopped by Ken Walcott. Davis played for former Eskimo receiver Mike Levenseller when he was at Washington State.
Yeah, he recommended him to the Eskimos, did Mike Levenseller. C.J. Davis missed the game last week. He's back. He's still looking for his first touchdown, but gambling situation for Ron Lancaster. And after the great punt return by Henry Williams, you know, they'd love to cap this off with a touchdown, so they're going to go gambling early.
3rd and 1. Do you love the call?
Yeah, I like it. For an offense that's struggling, I like the support he's showing.
Vargas himself, and he slides around the left side. I'm wondering if he's going to make it.
Well, he faked it to Willie Pless inside, and maybe he should have given it to Willie Pless because nobody touched him. But the fake and then the rollout outside, and he had enough to pick up the first down. There you'll see, hey, that's pretty good fake. Held everybody for a brief moment.
But he didn't make it by much, Leaf.
No, he didn't.
At the end, he had to put his head down.
But, you know, from a confidence standpoint, I think Ron Lancaster sent a strong message to his team. Hey, we want touchdowns tonight, not field goals unless we absolutely have to settle for them. And a good gamble.
1st and 10 at the Argo 12. This is Lucius Floyd, and it's closing up quickly around number 33. Swift Birch was there, number 90 for the Argos.
Get it, Chris! Well, you talk about getting off to a good start. Traditionally, the first quarter is your weakest quarter offensively, but the Eskimos, I mean, obviously have just outpowered their opponents. Defense has a lot to do with the only 21 points they've given up.
No gain for Floyd, 2nd and 10 Eskimos at the Argo 12. No score so far. Vargas looks to the end zone, comes up a little short. Davis couldn't make the catch. He didn't like the coverage provided by Ken Walcott.
And this front four of the Toronto Argonauts, I said it's the best one they've had together this year, but Swift Birch from the right side of your screen, you know, Vargas sees him coming. He feels the heat and throws it a little maybe before he wanted to, and Davis couldn't come up with the catch. You know, I watched Davis closely, C.J. Davis, in the warm-up just to see his technique, and he really had a rough warm-up, and, you know, that might have been a ball he could have really stretched out and caught, just wasn't able to make the catch. But, you know, some nights, you know, you have a bad warm-up, and it carries into the game.
Here's Sean Fleming for the first points of the evening, and he hit the post.
Looked like he got a rough snap to begin that play, and of course, there's the 3 guys involved in this one. Low snap for Harper to get up. Now, he does a pretty good job, but really no reason why that kick should have been missed. Glenn Harper with a super job to get that on the tee, and Fleming saying, hey, my fault, guys.
At least he's smiling about it. But we'd have no score at Skydome so far.
CFL Live on TSN. Brought to you by All Sports. The new All Sports drink for athletes. All Sport. The game will never be the same. And by Bell Advantage Long Distance Services, from the alliance of Canada's only full-service telecommunications companies.
Back at Skydome, the Argos dodge an Eskimo bullet. It's still 0-0. Sean Fleming hitting the post on a short field goal try, so Ken Austin gets the ball back at the 25, 1st and 10, Toronto. Play action for Austin to his right. And did he stay in bounds with a catch? It is ruled a catch by Jock Climby. The official was a long way away, but he saw Climby land in bounds.
What a terrific catch by Jock Climby. You'll see Singhor Mobley get in front of him, but he was able to keep his concentration, catch the ball, get your feet in bounds. Boy, that's 2 solid catches he's made in this first quarter. And, you know, after missing 3 games, you know, Ken Austin's happy to have him back in there.
Went down with a knee problem in week 3. This is Reggie Barnes trying to get outside. He has some room, and then he's upended on the far side by Cavis Reed, number 24, cutting the legs out from under Reggie Barnes.
And this is a tough Edmonton defense to run against, but Reggie Barnes, he's been the short yardage guy for the Argonauts this year, only averaged about 3.1 yards a carry, but that time got some pretty significant yards, about 9 on that one. But Edmonton's defense, 4th in the league, they only give up 74 yards a game on the ground, so you know you're going to have to beat them through the air.
Barnes picked up 9, 2nd and 1 here. And he should have the first down. We'll see where they spot the ball. Willie Pless was there, number 39. Pless had 8 tackles last week against the Baltimore Stallions in Edmonton.
8 tackles a week ago. He's only done it 745 times in his career. My goodness. All-time tackling leader, 5 straight All-Canadian.
Defensive Player of the Year a couple of times. Greg Battle is not even close when you look at Willie Pless's number, 754 to 590.
You know what you have to like about Willie Pless? I mean, you know, you think of him as a really quick and fast linebacker, but straightaway speed, he's not all that fast. He's just so smart out there, and he anticipates, and he's moving all the time that he appears to be a lot quicker than really his foot speed indicates.
Barnes had just enough for a first down. So the Argos are out across the 50 at the 52. Austin to his left, far side. No catch over there. Cavis Reed was covering. And Climby was the intended target.
Had a conversation with Ken Austin before the game tonight, and one of the things you always worry about when you play against Edmonton's defense is the fact that they give you so many different looks in the secondary. They switch up their coverages and just little subtle changes where they try and fool a quarterback. And Ken said, I mean, it is really difficult for my receivers and I to be on the same page tonight.
No score. This is 2nd and 10. Argos over the middle. Nice catch. It'll be a first down, Toronto. Jock Climby dragged down by Trent Brown, the Eskimo safety.
One of the things Austin does so well is read the blitz. Here comes Singhor Mobley from the outside. He's picked up, but Austin's saying, hey, when this is coming, I got a good matchup over the middle. He finds Jock Climby with his 3rd catch, but, boy, you get the feeling that Austin's pretty sharp here in the first quarter.
49 for Climby already, and here comes Reggie Barnes. What a great run inside for Barnes all the way down to the Eskimo 30. Darian Hagan finally put the stop on number 30 for the Argos, coming into the game averaging 3.1 yards a carry. And he's certainly hotter than that tonight.
One of the key changes Argos have made is to move Joe Burgos from guard out to tackle. That's where he's more comfortable at. Watch how the big horse leads Reggie Barnes up through the hole. That's a pretty blocking scheme by the Argonauts. They got a nice drive going here.
And on first down at the 31, Austin went to the far side. Tight coverage over there on Jeff Fairholm. Austin and Fairholm, of course, former mates in Saskatchewan, put together 3 1,200-yard seasons together with Fairholm on the receiving end.
Best year they had together was 1992. Fairholm caught 74 balls. Austin threw for over 6,000 yards.
2nd and 10. Austin operating from the shotgun. Got it away in a hurry. Fairholm made the catch, but he comes up short of the first down. Mobley on the tackle. Sorry, Liebert.
What Edmonton's secondary does so well, when they're coming on the blitz, and that means bringing 5 or 6 people, they really snug up on the receivers, and they'll sit about 7-8 yards and jam the receivers. And for a guy like Jeff Fairholm, it was almost impossible for him to get by Glenn Rogers to first down distance. He had to cut his pattern off because Rogers came up and jammed him.
So it's up to Terry Baker now. He gets his first try at a field goal for the Argos. Spotted by Mazzatti at the 30-yard line.
You don't think there's any pressure on Baker?
Maybe a little bit wide on his first try. And Toronto fans have to be wondering a little bit about Baker from 30 yards wide. No apparent reason. Argos get a point. It's 1-0.
Welcome back to CFL Control. There is one other game tonight. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are home to the BC Lions. You know, Taylor Field, generally a tough place to win. Saskatchewan has yet to win there this year. 0-3, the BC Lions with a win will pull into a tie with the Stamps. We'll update this game later on. Let's go back to John and Lee.
Couple of missed field goals in this one so far. Terry Baker from 30 yards away. It sailed wide for a single.
John, let's go back and have a look at the hold by Paul Mazzatti. Now, this is a perfect hold. It's slanted just to the right. That's the way the kickers want it these days. So everything was perfect for Baker. He just kind of pooped it out to the right there. You know, people in Toronto say there was a lot of pressure on Wayne Lamley when he was the kicker here. Hey, he's gone. I think there's even more pressure on Terry Baker. He's supposed to come in here now and with the trade make every kick. And now he's missed his first one, which is a pretty easy kick.
He's a veteran, and the Argos are counting on him. Not very often that kickers are the focal point of a trade. On first down, Edmonton on target, and the catch is made by Nick Mazzoli. Eaglin forced him out. That's Greg Eaglin, number 13 for the Argos.
And what you'll see from the Edmonton offense tonight is a very high percentage passing offense. We've talked about how they win games with defense and special teams. This is an offense that doesn't want to beat itself. So high percentage. So the outs use Lucius Floyd and Michael Souls out of the backfield on swings, and that's what you're going to see for them. The quarterbacks have high percentage completion rates, but they don't throw for a lot of yardage.
1-0 ball game so far.
You know what else they do well is the takeaway, giveaway category. This is a team, Edmonton, that's plus 10. They beat you that way, too.
This is Lucius Floyd on 2nd and 1, and easily for the first down off the left side. Eaglin was in there, so was Joe Sardo.
John, when you look at Lucius Floyd and Michael Souls, sometimes it's tough to figure out, are they rushing running backs or are they receiving running backs? Those are the receiving numbers that they have, and well, I tend to think that they're much more effective catching than they are running as a tandem.
There's Vargas. Had it batted down. Brannon got a hand on it. Steve Brannon. So it'll be 2nd and 10 Eskimos.
There's Steve Brannon playing his first game at tackle for the Argonauts. Talk about some pretty impressive college statistics. 41.5 sacks in 37 games at university. Not bad.
Here's Vargas standing in over the middle. It should have been caught by Nick Mazzoli.
And that's been the knock on Nick Mazzoli his entire career. Like, he can make some great catches, and then he's had a couple of drops tonight like he had here, and they're absolute drive killers. You know, you have a first down, and you get the pass patterns all set up the end. Everything's open over the middle, and he just can't hang on, and there's no explanation for it.
Got 7 for 113 yards last week in a losing cause against Baltimore. Should have made that catch. Harper just got it away under a big charge. Bouncing for Branch. And there wasn't much room for Derek Branch as he gets across the 25-yard line. 5-yard return, 40-yard punt for Harper, I should say. 4 of 7 for 57 yards for Kent Austin. He's moved the Argos a little bit. Got within field goal range.
What he's faced with tonight is a secondary that really likes to take an inside position on the receivers and force the slot backs and the wide receivers towards the sidelines. And in doing so, they want Ken Austin to throw the outs. They want to see if he can get the out to the wide side or make him throw that ball just a little bit farther.
Austin looking for Fairholm. He's got him short of the first down. Kavis Reed, number 24, making his second starts on the right corner for the Eskimos.
John, you know, I mentioned Austin threw for 459 yards last week. Well, it took him 53 attempts to do it. You see, he was just one short of the all-time club record of 54 by Tobin Rote. But, you know, a lot of quarterbacks would say, geez, give me a running game to help support my passing, not Austin. 53, he doesn't mind. He's happy with that.
Picked up 8 yards in the connection with Fairholm. 2nd and 2. This is Barnes, and he'll have the first down. Reggie Barnes stopped by Mobley, number 27.
You know what's interesting about that catch by Fairholm? It was just supporting what I said a few moments ago about how Edmonton wants to force you to throw to the outside. Well, Austin said, okay, I'll bite, I'll do it. And he threw a long way to get 8 yards to Fairholm. But, you know, he sent a message back to that Edmonton secondary that, you know, there's nothing wrong with my arm to the outside. And if you want to give me that, we'll take advantage of it.
Injured Argo, and it's difficult to tell from our vantage point who it might be, but they're looking at his right knee. Stampeders leading the way, followed by the Lions, then Edmonton, Hamilton, the Argos, and Winnipeg at 2 and 4. Saskatchewan, Ottawa at 1 and 5. You know, it's going to be a little more interesting this year. The teams in the old CFL West never really worried too much about what the teams in the old CFL East were doing, but all of a sudden, the Eskimos very concerned about the scores from Hamilton and Toronto and other places because of the new playoff format.
And I think it's created a new enthusiasm, just for the point you're making, that, you know, Edmonton's far more concerned about Ottawa or Hamilton than they were in the past. We saw a shot of Marvin Graves on the sidelines. Was it nice to have Marvin Graves back? He hasn't thrown a pass yet, but you know, he told me yesterday, just being in meetings and practices with Kent Austin has already made him a better quarterback. We've yet to see that, but he said, you know, Leaf, you can have all the talent in the world, great arm, great running ability, but until you learn to read defenses, you won't be a complete quarterback. And he says he is better now just by being around Austin.
Chris Giaskis is the injured Argo, and it's been a tough year for Giaskis already. It's his third start. He missed the first 4 games with a knee problem earlier.
Yeah, and it messed up their whole import ratio. When he wasn't in, you know, they had to play 2 imports on the offensive line, which hurt them defensively. Now they're back to the ratio that they can really play well with.
2:15 to go in the opening quarter. It's the Argos leading 1-0. And first down, Toronto. No running room that time whatsoever for the pinball Mike Clemens, who's in there. And met quickly by Benny Goods, number 40. Goods an All-Canadian in 1994. Missed just 1 game and had 9 sacks.
And what he does is get upfield pressure. He uses that strength. He's 6'3", 255, and quickness. My goodness, he got past number 54 from the Toronto Argonauts, P.J. Gleason, who came in on his first play, just blew by him.
Picked up. Willie Pless, and he rolled it out at the 40-yard line. Wisely, it's Brown smothering it there. Trent Brown. As Pless tried to get a little more yardage by flipping it out. I'm not sure who Austin was looking for, Leaf.
Well, I think Willie Pless fooled him. See him to the left side. He's faking the blitz. That's what Austin's thinking. He's thinking man-to-man blitz coverage, but Pless just drops back into his zone, steps underneath Grifo, and kind of a silly play here to get it to Trent Brown. They still recover, but that's one of the things. Again, they're always playing games with a quarterback. He faked the blitz, dropped back in zone, and gets the interception.
One of the very best, 39, Willie Pless. Eskimos set up at the 39 of Toronto. Vargas for Souls. He's got a couple. Calvin Tiggle was in on the tackle along with Brannon, the newcomer.
And you know what? That draw play to Souls is rather insignificant, only getting about 1 yard, but I think it's a good play against the Toronto front four. You know, at certain points in the game, you have to try and slow those guys down with a screen or a draw. That's a message play.
Vargas looking at 2nd and 8. And looking deep for C.J. Davis. Tipped away. Greg Eaglin, nice defensive play. Number 13, former Ticat.
You know, John, there have been a lot of surprises on this Toronto defense this year. You know, Dennis Meyer thought, boy, this is really going to be a struggle until we get our group together. But right from the bat, this secondary's played well. And Greg Eaglin, who was released by the Hamilton Tiger Cats, came over. And that's great coverage. You're on the inside hip. I mean, I don't even think a perfect throw is going to beat you there. Vargas gets hammered by Steve Brannon, the newcomer.
Solid play by Eaglin.
Hey, you look at Tommy Henry, the other halfback. He's got 4 picks already. This secondary's matured in a hurry.
Sean Fleming missed his first from 45. Dead center. Eskimos into the lead. Fleming is 1 for 2.
No, John, Sean Fleming was not unlike Wayne Lamley here in Toronto. You know, having troubles early in your career. I mean, in Edmonton, they kind of wanted to hang him his first year at
61.
Well, yeah, but look what he has done. And you know, I mean, this really tells a story about a kicker from the mental aspect. Hey, Sean Fleming physically was always a strong, good kicker, but the mental part of how to deal during a game, how to not get too excited, you just see how he's got better, better, and better. And now, what is he, 22 of 27 now on the season?
I think that's exactly right. Hitting on about 84%. It's actually kind of fun watching Fleming on the one he missed because he was at least smiling at himself after he hit the goalpost.
Yeah, see, the thing with Fleming, though, he missed one like that, but when the game's on the line and you need one from 55, you know he's the kind of guy that can deliver.
Ready now for Fleming's kickoff. Too deep for the Argos. Clemens and Branch. Coming down to the pinball, Mike Clemens beginning at the 10. Bouncing around in typical pinball style. And a pretty nice return. Loose ball, but I think it might have been whistled down. 27 yards on the return. It'll be Toronto ball. The whistle had gone. Down the Queen E to Ivor Wynn in Hamilton on Friday night. We'll watch the Shreveport Pirates, that scoring machine from Louisiana, against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Pirates with 65 points against the Bombers last week. But the Pirates had a little good fortune in that game.
They were overdue for some good fortune.
You're right about that. 1st and 10 from the 37, Austin. Shotgun, he's got time, doesn't run often, and that's likely why. Sandwiched in there between Malvin Hunter and Errol Martin. That's the final play of the opening quarter. Not much scoring on the board so far. 3-1 Edmonton. We'll be back to Skydome on CFL Live.
Busy day in Major League Baseball. You got the 2 best teams in the National League going at it tonight. Atlanta and Cincinnati, and the best pitcher in the bigs going at it this evening as well. Greg Maddux chucking for the Braves, and Freddie McGriff supplies him with some offense. He'll go deep off Dave Burba. That's his 16th homer of the year. 2-run shot, 2-0. As you see it right now, Freddie McGriff with the big blast in the contest. How about Greg Maddux? He gets to start tonight, 12-1 in the year. He's got a 1.74 ERA. He's won 10 straight. The Spos playing against Houston tonight. Pedro Martinez with the start for Montreal, 9-7 on the year. He's got a 3.45 ERA. Houston has dropped 3 straight. And good news for the Jays. They're in a rain delay in Milwaukee. Toronto has lost 5 straight. We will update all of these baseball games as they continue to progress. If they get this one going, Juan Guzman is expected to get the start. He's 3-8 this year with a 6.70 ERA. That'll do it for now. Let's go back to the football game as John and Leaf are standing by. As we anticipated, a defensive struggle.
That score looks like it's the Oilers playing the Leafs as we begin the second quarter here. 3-1 Edmonton on top of Toronto. Net yards 86. for the Argonauts and 30 for the Eskimos. The one turnover led to Edmonton's 3 points.
And I think one of the most disturbing things you see right here is 2 first downs by Edmonton. I mean, we know offensively they're not where they want to be. They've made a lot of changes with the receiving corps, C.J. Davis, Shalon Baker, and 2 new quarterbacks. But hey, 2 first downs. I mean, I know you live by defense and special teams, but that's putting a little extra pressure on those 2 areas of your game.
The special teams, the big return by Henry Williams set up the first field goal try that the Eskimos missed, and then Willie Pless's interception set up the field goal that Sean Fleming made. Argos have moved the ball a little more effectively. Austin and Toronto beginning at the 36. Here's Austin going to the far side, and that one took off. The intended receiver was Rob Grifo.
And that's just another example of the Edmonton secondary forcing Austin to throw to the outside. They squeezed everybody down inside, and Grifo was open. But, I mean, that was a long throw, and Robert Holland was kind of hanging in the weeds out there. But once again, they make Austin throw to the spot they want to, not necessarily what Ken Austin wants to do.
Baker's had a tough start as an Argonaut. He missed his first field goal try, first punt 35 yards, and he's looking right into the eyes of the gizmo, Henry Williams, standing back at the Eskimo 30. And Baker gets pretty good kickback bounce on that one. No return possibility for the Giz. The punt, though, only traveled 36 yards. But I guess not bad when you look at net there.
So I like that.
Facing the Giz. You know?
I like that net against Henry Williams. 36 and no return. I think head coach Mike Farragelli would take that any day. Boy, he's done this so many times, and that's one of the reasons why 36 and out of bounds is good. You don't have a chance for Henry Williams to make it 24.
Chris Vargas in his first starts as the quarterback of the Edmonton Eskimos, just 24 years of age. Has not moved the team effectively so far, but he has Baker this time. And Baker is stopped well short of a first down. Penalty markers come down. Kelly on the tackle. Baker's on pace for a rookie record for the number of yards receiving.
Well, he's projected for 87 catches, and the rookie record is held by Matt Clark of the BC Lions with 79. Funny, you know, you look at Shalon Baker, he's from the University of Montana, where Trevathan and Mike Trevathan and Matt Clark came from.
Toronto number 99, first down.
Jeff Cummins out there. It'll be a first down for the Eskimos out near midfield. Baker to the near side this time. Sandusky flanks to the far side of the field on 1st and 10 Edmonton. This is Lucius Floyd, and he's better than halfway to a first down. Tiggle was in the middle of things there, and tempers flare just a little bit.
Well, these are 2 really physical teams going at each other tonight, and, you know, both teams trying to dominate in the pitch where this game may be won or lost. I don't think there's any question about that. When you play Edmonton, you know you're in for a physical game. Floyd better known for his pass catching, but, you know, he gets the job done on the ground.
From the shotgun on 2nd and 5, Vargas, far side of the field, has his man in a first down. Joe Miro on the coverage on Jim Sandusky. Sandusky with 21 catches for just 291 yards.
And his 501st catch, that's quite an accomplishment to go over 500 in your career. His 10th season, that's a good catch. See how he shields his body away from Joe Miro, so if Miro comes through, he'll cause some interference.
Eskimos first down from the Argo 35. And Vargas simply overthrew Lucius Floyd, number 33.
Get the feeling that Vargas, starting his first game, was a little nervous out here in the first half, and I saw him in the second half play in Hamilton when we did that game a few weeks ago, and to me, he looked a lot calmer and more sure of himself when he was coming off the bench. But a couple of throws tonight, a couple of drops by Mazzoli haven't helped his confidence either.
2nd and 10 Eskimos. Vargas stands in. He'll have nowhere to go. Nailed by number 98, Steve Brandon, with his first CFL sack.
Well, let's have a look at Steve Brannon, the newcomer. 41 sacks in 37 games. Watch the second effort that he makes right here. Boom, he's taken on a spin. He's knocked down. He gets up. Oh, how about that for enthusiasm in your first game? That's a lot of stuff. A spin, a knockdown, and a sack all in one play. Not bad. And then the golf swing.
Here's Harper's punt on third down. Bouncing near the 10. Mike Clemens lets it trickle across the line and gives up a point, then draws a flag for no yards, I would expect.
Well, it looked like he got Jed Roberts. I can't believe it. Roberts, a veteran, got sucked in on that one.
That's the indication against Edmonton. No yards.
No yards. Edmonton number 24. Declined. Single point.
So the point stands. The Argos now have a couple. He has his first CFL sack. You're looking at Steve Brannon. Eskimos on top of the Argonauts. It's 4-1 into the second quarter at Skydome in Toronto. Told you it'd be a defensive battle.
That's a look at Steve Brannon, the newcomer who got his first sack. And I think Mike Farragelli, coming on a training camp, I think he was very concerned about his defense. So many new players, but boy, have they matured in a hurry. I mean, this defense, which was a question mark, is ranked third in the league, and pass defense at number 4. Well, you couple that, there's Swift Birch in the right with, he had 4 of those 8 sacks, and one short of Rodney Harding's club record. Boy, his buddy beside him, Carlos Fowler, was 3. This has turned into a great defense in a hurry, and they've had to play well because the offense has really struggled.
Tonight again, and you don't win the game, though.
Well, 8 sacks and 459 yards in passing.
And you still don't win.
You wonder why coaches get gray hair.
Argos first and 10, beginning at the 35.
Run!
Reggie Barnes, maybe a yard. Leroy Blue, number 89 for the Eskimos. Solid season with a couple of sacks already and 12 tackles.
Boy, his best year was a year ago where he had 9 sacks. And, if you would ask him as a linebacker, do you enjoy pass rushing or covering? He says, I like that pass rush part of my game.
They call it a gain of 2, second and 8 Argos. Austin operating from the shotgun. Markers everywhere. Looks like it'll be a procedure call against Austin and the Argos. Ziaskas is back in the game, just a slight knee strain.
Well, he moved early, and Edmonton.
Illegal procedure. Toronto number 58. Repeat second down.
Edmonton's defense can get you a little jumpy. They give you a 4-3 kind of look, but really in that 4-man front, there's only 2 defensive linemen, Tony Woods and Benny Goods. Leroy Blue and Malvin Hunter are linebackers who come off the corner, and they have such tremendous speed. Chris Giaskas, who's lined up on Hunter right now, is thinking, well, I got to get out there in a hurry, and sometimes he jumps the snap count.
Second and 13. Austin won't get away. Tony Woods was there, number 91.
Well, Tony Woods, one of the 2 real true defensive linemen. Here comes the pressure right up, and as a secondary, they're jamming the Toronto receivers, so they're forcing Ken Austin to hold the ball just a little bit longer. But he took on 2-3 guys to come up and get that sack, very similar to Steve Brannon's from the Argos. But you talk about in the pits. There's a lot of action in the pits when these 2 clubs play.
Woods had 9 sacks in 1994. Here's Baker standing at his 10. High kick. Deeper this time. Henry Williams starting at the 37. He's out near the 50 to about the 51. And Dwayne Ford led the Argo tacklers. 15-yard return for the Giz. As the Eskimos continue to hang on to a narrow lead. It's 4-1 Edmonton at Skydome.
CFL Live, brought to you in part by 3M Canada. Imagining the unthinkable and developing the unknown. That's 3M Innovation at Work.
Eskimos have the lead on the Argonauts, 4-1. Chris Vargas, the starting quarterback for Edmonton, good on 4 of 11 for just 33 yards. 1st and 10. Vargas pumps once and found Sandusky. He was nailed almost immediately by Maurice Kelly, number 16.
Boy, did Maurice Kelly close on Sandusky in a hurry. Maurice Kelly led the Las Vegas posse with 83 tackles. I'm not sure you want your corner to be doing that, but kind of shows you why. Does he ever wrap up in perfect fashion there? And, well, he delivered a blow on Sandusky.
Gain is 3, 2nd and 7. Vargas stands in over the middle. He'll have a 1st down. C.J. Davis made the catch, and a good one.
Well, they say he dropped it, John. You know, I mentioned he had a tough warm-up, and that's the 2nd ball he hasn't been able to hang on to. This ball's delivered pretty well. I mean, you know, that's a tough catch. But, I mean, you get into pro football, you're going to have to make some of those and help your quarterback out. And Vargas, at this point in time, is struggling. He's only completed 5 out of 12 passes, so he needs some help, and his receivers aren't giving it to him right here. Mazzoli with 2 drops.
And Davis has not had a good start, as you mentioned. I thought he had that one, but
well,
not quite.
You know, you really see the difference with Vargas in there. Kerwin Bell likes to throw to his backs. Souls and Lucius Floyd have yet to catch a ball tonight. Vargas likes to go outside a little more.
They must have ruled that a catch lead because it is 2nd and 1. And there were no penalty markers. Eskimos go gambling on, I should say, go for the 1st down on 2nd and 1 after the C.J. Davis catch. So Davis did make the catch for a 9-yard gain. The Eskimos convert to a 1st down on 2nd and 1. Shotgun for Chris Vargas. He's got Davis all alone in behind the cover. He's inside the 20 and finally forced out by Tommy Henry at the 10. 37 yards. Vargas to C.J. Davis.
And Davis finally comes up with the big play, running the post corner, man-to-man. You see Tiggle coming up the middle on the blitz, and Davis absolutely turns around Tommy Henry, who has played well this year, but on that occasion, that's just too much field to cover and good protection for Vargas.
Eskimos 1st and 10 at the 10. Vargas end zone toss, and he's got Baker. First touchdown of the ball game. Shalon Baker has his 1st in Canadian football, but there's a marker down back at the line. Sounds to me like it's not going to count. Maurice Kelly was covering on Shalon Baker.
Holding, Edmonton number 58. 1st down repeated.
Craig Hendrickson caught for holding that time.
Craig Henderson, the guard. Here you go. Jeff Cummins has him beat up the middle, and he's going to get the sack, but watch the grab right there. And, you know, I'm not so sure, had he not held him, let him go, that pass still would have been completed.
1st down and 20. The Eskimos are moved back to the Argo 21. Vargas standing in. He won't get it away. In fact, he lost the ball. Argos say they've got it. Swift Birch supplying the pressure. No penalty on the play. The Argos do not recover in spite of what Swift Birch was trying to indicate to everybody in the neighborhood. Now 2nd and too many. 2nd and 27. Has to hurry. He's nailed as he throws it. Sandusky, the catch at the 10. He's back to the original line of scrimmage, and that's all.
But that's good defense for the Argonauts. I mean, they realized the situation as a secondary with 2nd and about 1 million to go, and, you know, they just kept Sandusky in front of him. I mean, it's a nice pattern. It's a nice throw. But, you know, from that point, even if it's been incomplete, Fleming can still kick a field goal. Your job is to not let them score the touchdown. Ken Walcott with the good tackle. And the Argo defense did their job when they were backed up.
Vargas Fleming is in. Good on 1 of 2 so far tonight with Harper holding.
You know, you give up the big pass play to C.J. Davis like they did, I think you're very happy just to give up the 3. He missed.
John Fleming has missed 2 of 3. It's 5-1 Edmonton at Skydome. This is CFL Live. Well, we're not exactly rolling up the offense at Skydome tonight, nor the points. It's 5-1 Edmonton.
Yeah, for John Fleming, he misses one to the left side, hits the post, and now right up there, he misses it on the right side. So
see, I'm looking for an official saying what happened to that ball, and I couldn't see anybody down there on the replay.
They didn't give you a lot of help there.
They didn't help out, but it was wide. And
you're mad at them.
Well, I'm still a little upset. I kept watching. Watching for an indication. The Argos were all saying it was wide, but you can't believe the other team. 1st and 10 Argos at the 35. No touchdown so far. 7:15 to go till halftime. Touchdowns have been a problem for the Argos, who have only hit the end zone 13 times all season. Austin to his right, throwing on the run, and finally made the catch, but he's out of bounds.
And this is what Edmonton wanted to do on defense. Make Kent Austin hold the ball longer than he wants to. Now, as he's rolling, hey, he wants to throw right now. But look, he has to take like 5 or 6 steps more to decide whether Kleine's going to be open. Now, that's a terrific catch. It's a nice effort, but it took too long. And Edmonton is doing exactly what they wanted to on defense. Make Austin hold the ball longer than he wants to.
2nd and 10 Argos at the 35. It's Mazzotti to the near side. Branch flank to the far side of the field. Austin shotgun. Here comes the heat. Barely got it away, and it's picked out. Grabbed by Hagan. Darian Hagan down to the 30-yard line. Finally stepped out just at the 27. Austin is angry about that. 21-yard return for Hagan. His first interception of the season.
Well, one of the things Edmonton does is jam the receivers, and Darian Hagan, he came off of his receiver off the jam, and Austin once again had to hold the ball a heck of a long time, was confused by the coverage, and Hagan gets the interception, his first of the year. Not bad for a guy who moved from corner into halfback, and he has made the transition nicely.
Eskimo defense sets it up for the offense one more time. Edmonton first down at the 27. Vargas, 3 receivers to the far side, and that's where he looks. Sandusky is open. He's down to the 3. Sandusky in front of Joe Miro.
Well, Sandusky's so cagey, and this really is the difference. Kerwin Bell didn't use the wide receivers as much as Chris Vargas is doing tonight, and the numbers in the second quarter indicate that he is getting more comfortable as this game wears on.
24 yards to Sandusky. I talked to Vargas before the game and said, how do you feel? He said, I'm a little nervous, no doubt about it. Well, when you get your first pro start.
You know what? Backing up and starting is a huge difference mentally, you know, how you overcome this.
Eskimos first and goal to go at the 3. And Willie Pless, I believe. Snuck number 39 into the backfield.
Willie Pless doesn't get a chance to carry the ball too much, but on one of the previous short yardage plays, he should have had it. He might have scored. Here's Calvin Tiggle. Watch him fill the hole. It's just a straight dive play, and boom, helmet to helmet. Boy, that's what you ask from your middle linebacker and goal line. He's the guy that has to make the play, and Tiggle was right there.
Pless got a yard and a half. Second and goal to go from the 1.5-yard line. And this is Michael Souls. He's in for the touchdown. Over the top, Michael Souls, his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. Set up on a turnover.
Well, you know how Calvin Tiggle made the has the physical strength to do it. But when you ask Joe Miro, the corner, to come and fill over the top, hey, he just doesn't have the upper body strength to take on a Michael Souls. Here's Miro right there. Now, that's not a bad job, but it's a mismatch, and Michael Souls is going to score every time.
From 1.5 yards away, the Eskimos have finally hit the end zone. John Fleming adds the point after. And with 4:54 to go till halftime, the Eskimos on top of the Argonauts. It's 12-1.
Boy, and John, as a team, what you want to do is take advantage of the turnover. And this is an offense that hasn't scored a lot of points. And when you get the interception, well, you want to get it into the end zone. And let's go back and have a look at that play. Here's Darian Hagan right here. Now, Jock Climby is going to end up coming up, and Kent Austin thinks he's going to run the hook to the inside. And here's Hagan with that inside position again. Climby tries to go outside. Here he is. He's got that inside position right here, and Kent Austin lets it fly, and hey, Climby goes outside, the ball's thrown inside where Austin thinks he's going to be, and there's the interception, and it ends up being a touchdown eventually.
Nice little 24-yard return. The Eskimos take it in from there. 10 points for Edmonton on turnovers.
Well, one thing about that Hagan interception, too, I mean, Kent Austin again had to hold the ball for a long time waiting for Climby to come open, and then with the pressure coming, eventually he just had to let it fly, and Hope's receiver made the right adjustment. They got mixed up.
John Fleming set for the kickoff. Clemens and Branch are deep, and it rolls out in front of Derek Branch. So here's the Eskimos scoring drive. There's the man who scored the touchdown, Michael Souls. 3 plays to cover 27 yards after the interception. It didn't take long, 1:43. And Souls in from 2 yards out.
Third touchdown on the ground for Michael Souls. Hasn't had as many carries as he would have in the past, but predominantly used as a receiver. But down at short yardage, you know he's going to be the guy most of the time.
Argo fans are expecting this guy to get it going one of these days. He is 0 for 4 as the Argo starter. Now, he's had some injury problems, but the only 2 victories have been engineered by other Argo quarterbacks.
You know, that graphic there, Toronto beating Edmonton 11 out of the last 13 times. It goes back to what I said at the beginning of the game. Ron Lancaster's teams, for some reason, have always been lethargic in Toronto. But now with the roof open and all that nice fresh air circulating in here, I mean, I swear it makes a difference to them.
Second kickoff stays in, and here's Michael Clemens to return for Toronto. The pinball gets across the 35 to about the 37. Drew Stixon, a former Argo, led the tacklers there. 14-yard return after the kickoff, and look what's happening here. Marvin Graves gets to come in and see if he can move the Argos. Numbers on Austin were really quite brutal. 5 of 12 for 65 yards. He threw 2 interceptions.
And this will be Marvin Graves' first snap of the year, coming off back disc surgery. And, you know, physically he's 100%. Mentally, we don't quite know yet. His first game that he will play in.
Numbers from 94 when he was healthy were impressive. Graves to the far side. First pass almost picked off by Holland. He intended it for Derek Branch, number 87. It has been a frustrating time for Kent Austin as an Argonaut. The last 4 passes, 2 were incomplete, 2 were interceptions. It could only be worse if 4 were interceptions.
Well, I think I know the reasoning for Mike Farragelli making the switch. No, I don't think any quarterback tonight is going to stand back in the pocket and beat this Edmonton defense. Marvin Graves adds that extra dimension. He's a terrific runner. Doesn't do it as much as maybe he should for a young quarterback, but I think that's a dimension they might have to go to.
Here's 2nd and 10 as Graves decides to take off, lost the ball. Here's Willie Pless. Pless looking to the end zone. He won't quite get there. Blaine Ford recovering to make the tackle on Pless, and another turnover against the Argos.
And Leroy Blue was the guy that got the strip. Willie Pless gets the fumble recovery, but here's Leroy Blue at the top on Mike Clements. He's going to go around, and as Graves breaks containment, you watch when he comes out. He's not trying for the sack. He's trying to just get nothing more than strip the ball. Boom, right there. And Willie Pless is right there to get the fumble recovery. He's not going for the sack. He's going for the turnover, and that's why this club was a +10 coming into this game.
Pless took it 16 yards. Down to the Argo 14. 3 turnovers by the Argos. Couple of interceptions, 1 fumble. And Vargas and the Eskimos set up inside the 15. Here's Scholes. Can't get going. And he's surrounded by Argos. Brandon was there. He's been solid in his rookie debut, number 98. Steve Brandon.
He was on the practice roster in 1994. They got a look at him and, of course, came to training camp. Finally gets a chance tonight to play. You know, he has given them some pretty serious push up the middle from the tackle spot. Has a sack.
Book on him, very athletic and aggressive, and he's read the book.
Well, he's got the physical dimension, 6'3", 265 with good upper body strength. I think the defense, well, they've got to hold Edmonton to a field goal here. This game could get out of hand.
2nd and 12. Touchdown toss to Baker. He looks back for a call. Shalon Baker has been a rookie sensation for the Eskimos.
Well, this is the problem that Edmonton's had. We talked about it early, John. In the red zone, the problem has been a lack of touchdown production. Field goals have been all right, but now field goals tonight have been a struggle for Sean Fleming. A couple of misses. You know, the Toronto offense has really put their defense in a hole, and I think for the most part, the Toronto defense has responded pretty well.
Certainly a chance for the Eskimos to hit the end zone on the drive, but they'll come up short and settle for a field goal.
Welcome back to CFL Control. Coming up at McDonald's halftime, we'll fill you in on what's transpired around the league. You know what? There are some big-name players that have gone down due to injury. Remember the great Terry Greer? He's back in the CFL. We'll hear from him. And John and Leaf will give us their thoughts on the first half. So far, it's going pretty much the way we anticipated, with the defenses dominating. Let's go back to Skydome.
It's a night for the kickers, no doubt about it, Darren. 12-1 Edmonton. Sean Fleming out again and has a chance to add 3 more.
It was interesting to hear Darren Detition talk about Terry Greer, now receiver coach in Hamilton. Joe Barnes is coming in there Friday night with Shreveport. They've played a little pitch and catch throughout their career.
Fleming on the mark for this one. 15-1 Eskimos on top of the Argos. Strange swirling wind down on the turf when the roof is open here at Skydome. Chris Vargas in his first CFL start. First quarter, a few jitters. Second quarter, just a little bit better.
Yeah, one of the things we're tracking tonight with Chris Vargas is what areas of the field does a right-handed quarterback like to throw? Now, you would think as a right-hander he'd like to go to the right, but most of his success has been to the left tonight. 4 for 5 in that department. But tell you, teams chart that about quarterbacks. Where is his favorite area? And he's kind of giving teams a funny read tonight because he's had so much success going to the tough side.
Marvin Graves, the quarterback for the Argos. In Austin watching from the sidelines. And pinball. Mike Clemens set to run. He's across the 40 to about the 41. Willie Pless was there, number 39.
Well, last year as a quarterback with the Argonauts in limited playing time, one of the things that I liked about Marvin Graves was the fact that as a rookie, he had 11 touchdown passes and only 9 interceptions, and often that is a rookie's problem. That ratio is backwards, but for him, he's a student of the game, terrific physical ability, and well, I think he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Second down. Now here comes the charge. He gets away from Ruck, and he outrun Hunter. No. Hunter forces him to throw, and he does get a reception on the far side with penalty markers down. Climby made the catch. They've got the ball spotted near the 50-yard line. Mike Ferragelli in his first year as head coach of the Argos. Into the final 2 minutes and 5 seconds of the opening half.
Illegal participation, Toronto number 58, declined. Holding, Toronto, sorry, the illegal participation was Toronto number 81. Toronto number 58 holding. That penalty is accepted. Repeat the down.
Couple of penalties, same play. Giaskas.
You know, Rick Stubler, the defensive coordinator, tells me that he doesn't do it often, but Larry Ruck, the inside linebacker, when they line him up on the edge, he said he is the best pass rusher they have coming off the corner. That's kind of unusual for an inside linebacker. But did you see the move back to the inside of Joe Burgos? My, oh my.
This is 2nd and 14 facing Graves and the Argos here. Graves stands in over the middle. Climby was the intended receiver. Argos offense has really struggled.
You know, Edmonton's pass defense is holding teams to a #1 ranking in the league at 215 yards a game. And, you know, Ken Austin talked about that with me tonight before the game. He said, Leaf, I can't believe how well they play. And they have lived up to all their billing tonight on defense. They're stingy against the run, the best against the pass for Toronto tonight. This, you can see how much of a struggle it is to try and get some completions.
Terry Baker stepping across his 20 to get a high kick away. Coming down to the Giz. And there was no return, but there are markers everywhere. 52-yard punt. Ainsworth Morgan down to make the tackle, and we'll check out the infraction. 15-1. Edmonton leading Toronto with 1:49 to go till halftime. Don Ellis, the referee in charge of proceedings here. Indication the penalty against the Eskimos.
Illegal block, Edmonton number 19, first down.
No, John, one of the reasons why Edmonton's so successful are their special teams. Jeff Reinbold handles that department for them. Well, I've never met a guy that has a better rapport with the players and more enthusiasm for the game. He's a terrific guy to be around. And his wife, Julie's out in Vancouver expecting their first child. I know she's watching tonight. And Julie, hope everything goes well for you and Jeff.
Eskimos 1st and 10 beginning at the 17. Vargas has a little time. And he looked like he was looking to Michael Soles. It'll be 2nd and 10. Deep in Eskimo territory.
Toronto Argonauts getting some good blast up the middle from that front four. And there again, Swift Birch makes Vargas throw a little before. But see Jeff Cummins out there. He read the screen, and there was no way they were going to get that play off.
Sandusky to the near side, still on Baker, flanks to the far side of the field. Eskimos now with a 5-receiver set in. As Vargas stands back, looks to the near side. One-handed catch by Lucius Floyd, well behind the first down marker. Tommy Henry was covering, and Vargas has been nailed a couple of times just as he got the ball away.
Great catch by Floyd. The only problem was it was about 10 yards short of the first down. And once again, a pretty solid defensive stand for the Argonauts. And they're going to give their offense back the ball at least at midfield. Vargas, he's taking some shots. Boy, you know, this front four of the Toronto Argonauts is really, I think, at this point in time, as good as any in the league. And Jeff Cummins got the hit on him just as he released the football. I guess what I like about this front four as much as anything else is the fact that they just come so hard. I mean, they can be double teamed, knocked down, and they get up and they still keep working, never give up.
2 injured players, same play, the hitter and the hitee. It was Vargas hit by this guy, Jeff Cummins, and Cummins is still down back near the 10. Chris Vargas got up and started for the sidelines.
Well, I could show you how Jeff Cummins got it. I mean, he will eventually get the hit. Here's Jeff Cummins up here, but when Chris Green is out here, and when Cummins cuts up inside, watch how Chris Green peels around and actually gets the cut block. Now watch this, good spin. Now here goes Green with the spin as well. Boom, helmet down, and he gets it right on the knee of Jeff Cummins, but that's how he got hurt, and that's how he nailed Vargas.
Well, a little one-hander by Lucius won't count for very much. Might look good on the highlight reel. But it'll be 3rd down, punting situation for Glenn Harper as Kerwin Bell knows he's going to see, or figures at least, he's going to see a little action tonight. Will it be on the next sequence or in the second half?
I don't know. When asked yesterday how he felt about being benched, he said, "I put my faith in God, not in men." So he made it very clear that, it's out of his hands.
It's going to be in Pinball's hands here in a second. Well, maybe not. Harper retreats to give up a couple of points and take a little time off the clock. Now 1:29.
Well, I think
Eskimos will have to kick it away. The Argos will get the ball right back, but it's a pretty smart move.
Yeah, you always debate, is that a good or not so good call at this stage of the game? And for Ron Lancaster, hey, they win with defense and special teams. And, to give up 2 points at this point, make it 15-3 to get field position back, you have to like the call. Toronto hasn't had a sniff against his defense. So, let's play for some field position here.
Well, the Argos were going to get excellent field position and time enough on the clock on a punt from where Harper was standing.
Well, certainly the way the game has progressed, Ron Lancaster wasn't concerned about giving up those 2 points at this stage.
Now from the 35, Argos will have a first down with 1:28 to get to the end zone, or at least get within field goal range for Terry Baker and jump back in this ball game. Austin is on the sidelines watching as Marvin Graves handles the Argo offense. Play action for Graves and nowhere to go. The Eskimo defense has been too tough. That time it was Goods along with Errol Martin putting the heat on the Argo quarterback.
Boy, when I looked at the Edmonton Eskimos, here's Benny Goods over here. Watch how far he comes on the loop. They come down inside, and he ends up being the contain man, if you can believe it. Look how far he comes. He goes out of your picture, but then again, he comes back in, and with the help of Errol Martin, they get the sack. That's a long way to go for a tackle on a stunt.
Goods with 4 sacks on the season coming into the night. He'll share that one. Graves stands in on second and long, looking deep for Mazzani. Davis Reed was covering on Paul Mazzani there.
At this point in time, you watch the Toronto receivers, and I think it's pretty good receiving core, but they are being out-physical tonight by the Edmonton secondary. I mean, guys like Davis Reed, Holland, and Glenn Rogers, they're jamming them, and the Argonaut receivers aren't getting off the jam, and boy, you just don't make yourself a good target for a quarterback. And for Graves and Austin, they've had a tough night as a result, coupled with the pressure up front. I mean, makes for a long night.
Makes for a long night. You get the feeling that Austin will be back in this ball game second half. No. Here's Baker. And here's the Giz. It bounces in front of him and rolls out at the 50. Henry Williams a little lucky there.
Johnny, go back and you look at how the offense of the Argonauts has struggled tonight. We just talked about how difficult this Edmonton defense is to play against. These are their possessions tonight, and miserable when you look at that. My, oh my, that's not a lot of stuff happening.
Vargas apparently okay. He's back to finish off 49 seconds here of the opening half. And he's on top at 15-3.
You go back to that graphic about Toronto's possessions, and what it also tells you is it puts an enormous amount of pressure on the defense to try and keep this game close.
Eskimos have the ball first down at the 50-yard line. Little drop play to Lucius Floyd. Noah Cantor, number 97. The young guy out of St. Mary's.
Done a nice job with the Argonauts this year, mostly playing on special teams, but occasionally he will get in and get some play on the defensive line, backs up every other player on that front, and a nice play on the draw against Lucius Floyd.
He was a standout with the Huskies.
Sure was.
Second down. Baker made the catch well short of a first down, and it was Kelly covering, markers everywhere. 28 seconds till halftime. You spot a face mask down there, Leaf?
Yeah, Maurice Kelly got him, and that's what Shalon Baker was yakking about when he got up off the ground. I don't blame him. Kelly got a pretty good hook in there.
Major foul, face mask. Toronto number 16.
Now there it is right there. Boy, in the middle of your screen, you can see it plain as day. And you know, that's a tough penalty. He was going to be short of that first down, and they would have had to punt. But now with the face masking call on Kelly, the Edmonton Eskimos in 28 seconds for only about, wow, they're in field goal range already.
Vargas on first down, near side. He's got Baker this time. Baker around Kelly, heading for the end zone. Down to the 5-yard line. Finally stopped by Maurice Kelly from behind.
And one of the things Joe Paopao, the offensive coordinator, told me about Shalon Baker was he's got a great burst. And boy, when he makes this catch, look at that, back to the football. Now, the interesting thing, when he gets up, watch the burst right there. Now he is in full flight in 2 steps. That's amazing speed.
35-yard gain. The Eskimos down to the Argonaut 4 with 11 seconds on the clock and a chance to add 6 more right here. Willie Pless. And do they say that he's in the end zone or not? There's no indication down there on the goal line. Looks like they'll spot it at the 1.
Now, that's the same dive play that he was stopped on the goal line by Calvin Tiggle, but with a little extra finesse this time, he cuts it back inside and almost scores. Willie Pless, he's had a couple of carries tonight and showing some pretty good stuff as a running back.
Trying to go up and over once. Got halfway to the goal line from the 3. Now with 5 seconds on the clock, Vargas talks it over with the Eskimo coaching staff and comes back in. Looks like they're going for the touchdown. And I'd say a pretty decent bet if Willie's still in there that they'll give it to Willie.
Well, Willie's done it all on short yardage this year. He has a catch for a touchdown against Shreveport. Short yardage went 62 yards. Now they're trying to give him one on the ground. You get the feeling they want him to have a rushing touchdown tonight?
I think they want to get him a touchdown.
Boy, if I was a gambling man, I'd be watching 39 on this play.
5 seconds till halftime. Should be the last play. And it's Malvin Hunter over the goal line. Penalty markers everywhere. They'll count the touchdown. Malvin Hunter in on a short yardage situation, and just when you figured they might be looking to Willie, they go to Malvin.
Well, now, we told you that Edmonton relies on defense and special teams to win games, and I guess that means bring the odd defensive guy in on offense to help him out. And Mal Hunter, he explodes up through Kelly to get the touchdown.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Toronto number 16. The penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
See, John, he's still peeved about that face masking penalty that really set up this whole touchdown drive. And, of course, he's peeved that Baker beat him on the out for about 40 yards.
Pretty interesting because there wasn't much time to work with for Chris Vargas, and the Argos helped out on this drive. Vargas got his hands on the football with 49 seconds to go. Fleming adds 1 more to the Eskimo total. And the Argos are falling apart here. Malvin Hunter into the end zone. Last week 5 sacks. This week a touchdown.
Yeah, and he did it by running over Maurice Kelly on the goal line. And well, you'll see Hunter take the handoff right here. And here's Kelly. Now watch, Kelly's coming up to try and fill. Now, everything's okay. Look, the touchdown's been scored, but Kelly, feels like, hey, I got to give him a little extra. Watch the punch up in the jaw. Another one coming right there. Now Hunter backs off, and Kelly gets the penalty. That was a tough series for Maurice Kelly. I feel for him. You've had, defensively, you've had a pretty good night, and all of a sudden a couple of plays, and your team is in a huge hole. He knows that. But you have to keep your composure. Sometimes it's very difficult to do that. Easier said than done when you really want to whack a guy.
Mike Ferragelli has been involved in 2 overtime games and 2 one-point games in his first season as the Argo head coach. Onside kick, and it's recovered by the Eskimos. But that should be the end of the half. Tavis Reed made the recovery, but time has run out on the Toronto Argonauts. They didn't play very well in the first half, folks, particularly on offense. Trail Edmonton 22-3. McDonald's halftime coming right up.
McDonald's McDonald's Halftime, presented by your local McDonald's restaurant. Here's Darren Detition.
Welcome to McDonald's Halftime. Like you have no doubt heard throughout this broadcast, the Argos appeased the fans this week by sending Wayne Lamley to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Lamley was lambasted in Hogtown, and with his confidence somewhat eroded, Bob Obilovich made the move. Toronto in return received Terry Baker, and while you look at their numbers head-to-head going into tonight's contest, not really much to choose between the two kickers who do double duty. Ottawa also acquired linebacker Chris Sangaris and guard Mike Jovanovich. In return, Toronto got Baker, guard Scott Douglas, and future considerations, but for Wayne Lamley, it was time for a change of scenery.
Certainly, one loss is not a kicker's fault by any stretch of the imagination, but I do feel that this trade will help our football team.
Unfortunately, he didn't hit the pressure field goals, and that's what made the difference. I was willing to work and grow with him, but on the flip side, to have a guy like Terry Baker that's proven and he can get it done.
Without a doubt, Ottawa was the busiest team in the league this past week as they also completed the Sammy Garza trade. The future considerations in the trade turned out to be quarterback Sean Moore. Moore criticized coach Jim Gilstrap after Friday's loss to Saskatchewan. Now he's a member of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Some bad news out of Ottawa as well, as Ray Alexander was practicing with the team today and separated his shoulder while making a catch. He's out indefinitely. He had 27 catches for 394 yards, but no touchdowns this season. Alexander is not the only all-star receiver out with injury. The Memphis Mad Dogs have lost downtown Eddie Brown for a month due to a sprained ankle. He did have a cast on it. That's now been removed. Brown caught 25 passes for 381 yards, couple of touchdowns so far this year. And for a team struggling offensively, this is a huge blow, especially with a home-and-home series beginning with Baltimore in Baltimore this weekend. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the BC Lions are in Taylor Field tonight, and for years, it's been a very formidable place to play a game. Not this season. Saskatchewan has yet to win at home in 3 attempts. The Lions own the league's second-best record of 5-1. With a victory tonight, they could move into a tie with the aforementioned Calgary Stampeders. The perfect 6-0 stamp. Saskatchewan is, though, coming off their first victory of the year, a win in Ottawa last week, 1-5 on the season. We're going to take a short break, but we leave you with this week's CFL schedule. Stay tuned. We're back in a moment. Welcome back to McDonald's Halftime. As you just saw, Terry Greer put up some very impressive statistics. From a perennial CFL All-Star to winning a Super Bowl, Greer has now come full circle as he is back in the Canadian Football League with the Hamilton Ticats. He's their receivers coach, and he's loving every minute of it.
I mean, 82 was a big year for me because I guess the previous years in Toronto, we didn't make the playoffs. We was almost dead last in the league, and in 82, we came around. We from last and went to the Grey Cup.
Holloway fakes with the play action and now moves to his left. Puts it into the end zone for Greer.
We lost to Edmonton, but it was a big turnaround. So that was a great year, and knowing that I was productive and I had a part in all that. And then I came back in 83, and I even had a bigger year. And Joe Barnes threw the ball, and I caught it, and before I knew it, all my teammates was out on the field, and they lifted me up on their shoulders, and that was probably the greatest moment for me in my career because the way my teammates responded, to something that I accomplished, and that just made me feel that all these guys were behind me 100%, and they all like me as a person, as a teammate, and I guess when you play ball and something like that happens, you have to appreciate that more than anything else. Yeah, I'm just pumped about being back in football. I've been out for 5 years. What transpired is that I think last year my agent was talking to me about coaching, and I think they had a position in Baltimore. And Don Matthews called me and asked me about it, and I told him I'd get back with it, but the timing wasn't too good for me at the time, so I was able to, take that position as receiver coach in Baltimore. So this, I said to myself, if it come around again, an opportunity, came, and I just took advantage of it. When I played in the Super Bowl now, I was happy, because I knew at the time that I was in a position to do something a lot of guys never got the opportunity to do. They play all their life. I mean, a lot of great ball players never got the opportunity to play in a Super Bowl. And it's probably a list of thousands of Hall of Famers and just great ones that never played in a Super Bowl, let alone win one. For a guy like Joe, one thing about him, when you're on the sideline, I don't care what the score is, you always feel that you're going to win. Joe's going to find a way that, help you win. And just the air of the whole team out there, just always had confidence that you're going to win the ball game. That's the same kind of confidence that you got to have and instill in your team, is that, you're going to find a way, or somebody's going to make that big play, or yourself, you say, well, we're going to win this game. I played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and some cornerback, I played all those positions in college, so anytime he needed anything, I was the guy. And the scouts started coming around. I ran great 40 times for him, and I, caught the ball, and I got an opportunity. But I signed up here. I didn't wait for the NFL draft. I just, still in college, I just signed and came up here to play for Toronto. And no regrets, because I had a great career in Toronto. I did pretty good.
And you can see Greer's proteges at work on Friday night as we take you to Hamilton. Donnie Southern, hard as steel, as the head coach. The Pirates are in town. 7:30 start Eastern time. Look out for Shreveport. They've won 2 of 3. We will take another break. But when we come back, we will review our game story, and John and Leaf will give us their first half thoughts. The Edmonton Eskimos lead the Argos 22-3. Stay tuned.
McDonald's Halftime, brought to you by your local McDonald's restaurant.
Welcome back to McDonald's Halftime. Our game story reads like this. The Edmonton Eskimos really giving them the business in the first half. The Argonauts with 3 turnovers. Edmonton with 13 points off those turnovers, and it could have been a lot worse. The Argonauts, first downs in the second quarter, pretty much tells the story. They cannot move the ball. Let's go to John and Leaf. They're standing by at Skydome. Guys?
Well, I wouldn't want to be Mike Farragelli as it stands right now. I don't know who I'd put in to start at quarterback in the second half. Who would you go with?
Well, I think I'd stay with Marvin Graves, and for a specific reason. Edmonton's secondary is jamming the Argo receivers. They're getting lots of heat from their front four, so the quarterback has to make a decision. Am I going to hang in this pocket, or am I going to try and get out of the pocket and run and make something happen on my own? And I think that's the decision rather that they're going to have to make it. Marvin Graves is the guy that can do it.
Well, obviously, Ken Austin is struggling as #1 quarterback with the Toronto Argonauts. But then when you look at the defense that the Eskimos are throwing at them, I mean, this is very solid. All phases of the defensive game.
Well, it really is. And, I think go back to what Ken Austin and I talked about yesterday and tonight. Hey, this is a tough group to play against. And, you have to hope that maybe you can have 3 or 4 big plays throughout a game and get your offense into the flow of the game. And Toronto just hasn't had any. Edmonton's had all the big plays on defense. Guys like Ruck and Pless really dominating that first half.
The Eskimos say they win with defense, then special teams, and then offense, and that's exactly what they're doing. The Argos, so far tonight, it's halftime at Skydome. Full moon out tonight as we send you back to CFL Control.
Thanks very much, guys. That'll do it for McDonald's Halftime. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we kick off the second half.
Welcome back to Skydome, the Eskimos and the Argos. Just passing halftime, and it's been all Edmonton in the opening half inside the Argos home dome so far tonight. Defense has set it up, so have special teams. Eskimos with 11 first downs compared to 7 for the Argos. Turnovers have really hurt the Argos and led directly to 10 Eskimo points.
Well, and you look at these stats, too. Look at 11 right there. 9 of those came in the second quarter. You see what kind of a turnaround the Eskimos had after a sluggish start.
Mike Farragelli talking it over with his starting quarterback, Kent Austin. We'll find out in a moment if Austin gets to start the second half. He's got the hat back on. Here's the kickoff coming down near the 30-yard line. position out around midfield. Pushed out by the kicker, Sean Fleming. And it's Austin. 35-yard return. Austin has field position. He needs to control the football and get some points early.
So much for my halftime prediction that Marvin Graves would play because of his running ability.
Well, you never wanted to coach in this league, did you?
Well, no, I didn't. You're right about that. Well, I think obviously they've had a halftime discussion and maybe gone over some plays they think will be more effective.
Austin sideline toss to Derek Branch. And he missed him.
That's not one of them.
No.
I think at this time, Mike Farragelli must say to the offense, you haven't got the ball to any of the wide receivers. Neither Mazzotti or Derek Branch has a catch in that first half. Only 4 people have touched the ball other than quarterbacks: Fairholm, Clemens, and Barnes. I'd give it to the backs on swings and make Edmonton tackle. See if you can break one.
This is 2nd and 10. Austin with a little time, looking deep for Climby. Had to turn around and almost made a sensational catch. Trent Brown was back in the coverage on Jock Climby. But he had to spin right around to come back to the ball.
Boy, that's pretty good help over the top to the inside halfback, Glenn Rogers, with Trent Brown coming over to make the play. Now, had that been a better throw to the outside, I don't think there's any doubt that Climby might have made the catch. But, this is just one of those things tonight for Toronto. They're just a little bit off and not being able to make the big plays.
Terry Baker will try and pin the gizmo deep. Williams standing back near the Eskimo 20. Takes it at the 21. Still on his feet. Here comes the Giz. What a great run this is. It's Baker trying to get over to make the tackle. And finally upends Henry Williams near the 40-yard line. Horrible net on that one. 36-yard punt, 46-yard return. It's +10 for the Eskimos.
John, some teams on kick returns go through the motions because they know they don't have a great kick returner. But with Henry Williams, every single guy, all the 11 guys on that punt return are working hard for a block. Hey, there's Willie Pless. He's playing the special teams. And with Henry Williams, you do that because he's always got a chance to take it the distance.
And Baker made the tackle there. 1st and 10 for Chris Vargas and the Eskimos. At the 42. Mazzoli made the catch, and he's across the 35. Tommy Henry on the tackle.
John, it's interesting to watch the pass distribution of Chris Vargas. Look at the numbers at 0 to 10, 8 for 11, and that really supports what we talked about. This is a high percentage passing offense. They don't make mistakes. They don't have a turnover tonight, and they complete the short balls.
Lucius Floyd on 2nd and 2. And barely back to the original line of scrimmage. Don Wilson up from his linebacking spot to make the tackle. Lucius Floyd with 6 touchdowns on the season, 3 rushing, 3 receiving. It'll be 3rd down as Vargas heads to the sidelines. Eskimos do fairly well in the exchange of field position on their first sequence, even though they don't get a first down. Thanks to Henry Williams.
Sorry, John. This must be extremely frustrating for head coach Mike Farragelli to have what on paper looks like such a high-powered offense and then just to come up so empty tonight. I mean, defensively, this team has played well, but they just haven't been able to put any offense together to be competitive in this game.
Here's Sean Fleming. And he's wide this time. Mike Clemens gives up a single point, add 1 more to the Eskimo total, and Fleming has been dazzled a little bit by the swirling wind inside Skydome. It's not a real breezy night, but there are some currents down there that must be affecting the Eskimo kicker.
It's really tough to figure out the way the wind blows when the roof is open, but Sean Fleming just hasn't been able to master it. Ken Austin will look at his distribution tonight, and, he likes to go in that 11 to 20-yard range much more than the Edmonton quarterbacks and has no success at all. As you can see, they're 3 for 7.
Argos just give up a single point, 1st down from the 35. Austin shotgun, far side. No catch for Jeff Fairholm, who took a pretty big hit from Robert Holland.
Sorry, John. One of the things that makes Robert Holland such a great defensive back is he sees everything. He leaves his man anticipating the pass to Fairholm, and what a head cruncher that hit was. I mean, they just showed it on the Jumbotron here at the stadium, and you could collectively hear the crowd go, "Oh!" You know, he's looking back into the backfield playing the corner. He leaves Mazzotti and then goes back and just tattoos Jeff Fairholm with the hit.
Austin good on 5 of 15 so far. Markers are down, and so is Austin back at the 25. Leroy Blue is there. Frustrating night for number 5, no doubt about it. Fired up Eskimo defense. Benny Goods, number 40, All-Canadian in '94. Missed one game this season a couple of weeks ago, or about 10 days ago, against the Tiger Cats.
Holding. Toronto number 69. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
Even with the holding, they can't keep the Eskimos out of the backfield lead.
Yeah, they're holding him and getting pressure. I mean, that you really know you're in trouble when that happens.
Henry Williams back at his 45. Not a deep kick. He's up to the 50 to take this one. Reversing his field. Not quite that time for the Giz. Stopped out near the 51. 0 on the return. In actual fact, 33-yard punt. It's all Edmonton at Skydome. Number 89 for the Eskimos, Leroy Blue, a CIAU All-Canadian at Bishops in his 7th season in the Canadian Football League, and having a great year.
Well, you know, you see Leroy Blue at the top. Now watch the stunt. He comes inside and actually draws the holding penalty. Now Benny Goods comes to the outside, and he will eventually flush Austin back up. Blue falls down from the holding call right there. He'll end up getting the sack, but, you know, not only do they have great speed, I mean, they keep running these stunts, and the Toronto Argonaut line just isn't quick enough with their footwork to give the quarterbacks any kind of protection. That's what he says. I'm a linebacker.
3rd sack for Leroy.
I like rushing the passer more than going back in pass coverage.
Eskimo defense has been superb against the Argos so far. We're just nicely into the 3rd quarter with Edmonton on top. And it's Eskimo football at the 53. Chris Vargas started slowly, but he's shown confidence. Sandusky far side around 1, and Dipsy doodles back for an extra yard or 2 in front of Tommy Henry.
You know, John, one of the things Ron Lancaster talked about yesterday was their production when they got into the red zone, and, you know, he was hoping tonight would be a better night. Now, there are 6 possessions inside the 35 and 3 missed field goals. Had a couple of touchdowns. I mean, that's 17 points right there, but it could have been a lot of worse for Toronto.
On 2nd and 1, it'll be an Eskimo 1st down. Lucius Floyd, number 33, in front of, or at least brought down by Joe Sardo, with a little help from Carlos Fowler.
Well, Toronto's defense is just on the field far too much tonight, and with Edmonton going to the hurry-up, they're really trying to tire them out.
Another 1st down. Lucius Floyd has a couple. Swift Birch, as you mentioned earlier, likes to be outside rather than at that tackle spot on the defensive line.
Well, last year he had 9 sacks and was the Argo Rookie Player of the Year, and he was the rush end. Now, for the first few games this year, he was in a tackle, and that's really not his natural position. Once he got back outside, you know, you saw 4 sacks last week.
Vargas will throw on 2nd and 9, and that one was a little wobbly. I think it got away from him.
Yeah, and there's somebody down there that's not going to give this one back. You know, if there he is. Hey, good spike. No, take it. Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. I wouldn't give it back. You kidding me?
Oh, no, he's not. He was just
stick it under the shirt, though. Stick it under the shirt. Boy, you know, a quarterback, when you don't see something, you always tell him throw it in the stands. Now, Chris Vargas took that seriously.
Harper angling it away from the pinball Mike Clemens. It bounced to the 1 and then trickled into the end zone. So Clemens has to give up the single points. A 59-yard single for Glenn Harper. And the Boo Birds are out.
the guy now. You know what? He gave the ball back. I wouldn't have given it back. Here he comes right here. Look at him. The ball's up here now. This isn't a pretty pass. He's got to play the short hop. Whoop. Hey, that's good hands there. Now, his biggest mistake was he wanted to hear the fans cheer. The biggest mistake is he should have been out that exit and home. And he'd have got himself a new Wilson. Now, you know what? Good PR job. They gave him the ball anyway.
Big moment here. He's going to take another bow.
He knows he's on the Jumbotron here now. Oh, no, don't be taking that ball. That's my ball. One of the few things here in Toronto they've had to cheer about tonight.
For Argo fans in particular, Austin has struggled. He's been hampered by injuries, missed a couple of starts because of that. And he really hasn't gotten into the flow. They've surrounded him with weapons like Jock Climby and Jeff Fairholm and Paul Mazzatti. But he hasn't been able to connect tonight, at least on a regular basis. Here's Mike Clemens. Caught by Benny Goods, number 40. 9:29 to go, third quarter. Clemens gets a couple. Mazzatti to the near side. This is 2nd and 7. Austin stands in, catch made near first down territory. Jock Climby in front of Darian Hagan with the tackle.
Toronto needs a bunch of those. I think he got just enough for the first down, and extremely tight coverage by Darian Hagan, but good pattern by Jock Climby. You know, you got to keep that defensive back, you know, that position so he can't get around you. And Climby with the big catch, and Toronto's going to need a bunch of these if they want to get back in this one. Hey, it's only 21 points, and I mean, this is an offense that on paper you'd think they could score a few.
And then this, Austin mishandled the snap.
He's got to get rid of it here.
He got a reception on the far side. Jock Climby, and obviously he stayed in bounds. They're ruling it a catch. That was pretty good play by Austin to get anything out of that.
You watch Willie Plants now. He sees what's happened. He says, hey, I'm going to forget about pass coverage. I'm going for a loose ball. I'm great at fumble recoveries. And to Austin's credit, look how he hangs in and picks up a gain out of a bad play and ends up with 5 yards.
2nd and 5 Argos. Now at the Toronto 50. Austin near side. And is it pulled away by Hagan? It is. Darian Hagan has the interception. His 2nd of the ball game. Stolen right out of the midst of Jeff Fairholm.
Well, that's the 2nd interception for Darian Hagan tonight, and what a beauty this is. I mean, it looks like Fairholm's in good position to make this catch, but watch, Hagan just picks his pocket right here. Look, if Fairholm works back through the ball, at least he can break it up, but, you know, simple. Hagan wanted the ball more than Fairholm did right there, and Austin gets the interception.
24-3 Edmonton.
Spicy.
1995 PGA Championship on TSN. Our coverage begins tomorrow. Join us at 1:30 Eastern. 10 if you're in the Pacific, 10:30 if you're in the Pacific region. Hagan with 2 interceptions on the night. Being congratulated down there.
That's Bill McDermott, the offensive line coach. Hey, this guy was a terrific athlete. In 1990, he was drafted as a shortstop by the Toronto Blue Jays. He was a quarterback in Colorado. For Sacramento, he played running back, defensive back, and the corner. You don't think this guy can do it all? He's a tremendous athlete. And 2 interceptions tonight. What a game he is having.
And he spent a little time in Vegas doing just about, well, a little bit of everything down there for the posse.
I said Sacramento. I meant Las Vegas. Thank you for correcting me on that.
Turnovers. 3 interceptions fired up by Austin. Hagan has 2. After the interception, the Eskimos were charged with objectionable conduct, so the ball is back near the 35 for this first down play. Lucius Floyd turns the corner. And he'll be close to a first down. Should have it, in fact. Maurice Kelly forcing him out.
Little misdirection used by the Edmonton Eskimos. Looks like the old Statue of Liberty. Lloyd one way and then loops back around, takes the handoff. Nice ball handling by Chris Vargas. And some speed by Floyd to get to the outside. Best running play they've had tonight.
Eskimos now out at the 49. 1st and 10. 24-3. Edmonton leading the Argos.
This is an interesting formation. They got Michael Soul split out as a wide receiver, and Toronto's defense counteracts that with Joe Sardo going all the way out. He looks like a corner out there. Here's Sardo out here, and just a little farther down, you've got Michael Souls as a wide receiver. This is a pretty interesting look that Edmonton's giving Toronto.
On 1st and 10 at the 49. This is Baker, stopped near the 54 of the Argos by Maurice Kelly, more than halfway to a first down.
Yeah, one of the reasons for that formation is to get the linebacker out of that particular area where Vargas just threw the football to Baker. And that's pretty interesting formation. You get a guy out of coverage, so you got an open hole.
8 and 7, they try to Lucius Floyd again. Similar play, and it's well ran by Noah Cantor, 97.
Well, they go back
on the field.
John, they go back to the well again, and Noah Cantor, you know, what you have to do against this is just get upfield and keep that leverage. So when they try and run that Statue of Liberty or mini reverse, Cantor's right there. Souls can't get the block, and that's pretty heads-up play. Cantor says, now, I've seen it once. Don't think I'm that dumb. You can do it to me twice.
6:57 to go, third quarter as Harper stands in. 59 yards on his last one. This one won't be quite as deep. Taken by Mike Clemens. Markers are down. So, well, Clemens is up again. Was down once. Lost some yards on the return. -9 after a 40-yard Glenn Harper punts.
Boy, have Jeff Reinbold special teams covered well for Edmonton tonight. Boy, this is a well-disciplined football team. There's old Jeff right there. God, he has coached in a lot of places. BC Lions. He was with Las Vegas last year, coached in the World League over in Europe, and now back with Edmonton. A bit of a gypsy as a coach.
Spent a little time in Dusseldorf.
Yes, he did.
In the winter. Don Ellis in charge of proceedings tonight. He's been a busy guy. And they're sorting out another penalty with 6:40 to go, third quarter.
Holding, Toronto number 72. No yards. Edmonton number 24. First down.
One going each way, and that'll set the Argos up for the first down at around the 25. Lancaster has to be pleased with the play of his defense one more time. Mike Clemens squirted through and was finally brought down by Mobley.
The difficulty in running against Edmonton's front seven is they get so much initial penetration that, you know, for a guy like Mike Clemens, he had to make about 3 or 4 moves before he even got into positive yardage territory and ended up picking up 4. But, I mean, that's a lot of work for 4 yards. But it's that penetration by that front group.
Argos at the 30. Austin from the shotgun. Here comes the charge. Austin unloaded. Look for Kleine. And Holland got his hands on it. Number 17, Robert Holland.
You know, I think Robert Holland is a better corner than he is at halfback because he can do a few more things out there. Once again, he put the hit on Fairholm earlier by leaving his man. He leaves Derek Branch because he sees the ball in the air, and he really comes over and makes the play. And, oh boy, his reaction to the ball in the air is just terrific. And for Ron Lancaster, you know, it's just terrific depth, you know, to have him at halfback. All of a sudden, Morris Lawler's injured. You got an instant corner in Robert Holland. Plays well.
Baker, a high, booming kick. Jason McGee is inside the 30. Return is on, and he's out near the 40-yard line. Another marker down after a 13-yard return, 51-yard punts. And Ainsworth Morgan was in on the tackle. Smile, Ron, you're in the lead. It's 24-3. Edmonton on top of Toronto.
Welcome back to CFL Control. They have kicked off in Taylor Field. The 1-5 Saskatchewan Roughriders up against the 5-1 BC Lions. As we mentioned earlier, the Lions having a great season with a win tonight. They would be tied for top spot with the Calgary Stampeders. Let's go back to the Skydome. And gentlemen, how do you go almost 14 quarters without scoring a touchdown?
We'll have to get the Argo playbook out and study how not to do it.
Well, one reason why you go 14 quarters without a TD is the guy you see in the middle of your screen. That's Rich Stubler, who's the defensive coordinator of the Edmonton Eskimos, and he is truly a genius at coming up with schemes. He's always got so many little coverage variations, and, you know, he's given Ken Austin and Marvin Graves a lot of times a zone look at the snap of the ball, and then quickly they jump into man-to-man. They switch coverages where they switch receivers with their defensive backs on the run. I mean, this is a tough team to play against, and Ron Lancaster's very lucky to have Rich Stubler as his defensive coordinator.
Blocking infraction will set it up for Chris Vargas back inside the 20-yard line. 14 of 24, and no touchdowns so far, Leifer, but the bottom one there. 0 INTs, no mistakes.
And that's what they want. This is an offense that's designed not to beat itself, and after a shaky start, Chris Vargas has settled in nicely, and, you know, he's done exactly what they want from their quarterback.
Eskimo first down at the 18. There's the interception. There's Don Wilson.
Until now.
My gosh. We just said no interceptions, and Wilson goes for a 23-yard touchdown. Sandusky was the intended receiver, and the Argos have a touchdown at last. 50 career interceptions, and you might as well celebrate that mark with one all the way to the end zone.
Kind of bittersweet for Don Wilson. Played all 18 games for Edmonton a year ago, and as the strong side linebacker, he just read the quarterback's eyes, stepped in front. His fourth of the year, 50 on his career, and number 50 results in a touchdown. We just talked about Vargas not beating himself. I think we jinxed him.
We certainly did. Lots of time for the Argos with 5:16 to play in the third quarter if they can get something going on offense.
Well, it seems only fitting. The defense, for all intents and purposes, has played well tonight, and kind of fitting that they would score the first touchdown. Toronto had tremendous difficulty scoring touchdowns. Yeah, you have a reason to celebrate Don Wilson. That's a great play.
Argos finally get something off a turnover. First interception tossed up by Chris Vargas tonight. Third on the season. And the Argos finally on the turnover board. At the other end, Austin has fired 3 interceptions. Kerwin Bell going to warm up. Both quarterbacks have been used in every game by the Eskimos this season, so we would expect to see Kerwin Bell at some point during the game. I don't know if you put him in after the interception or not.
No, I think that's a terrible time to put him in. Chris Vargas, you know, one mistake in the entire game, and if you yank him, I don't think that's fair right now. I don't think they will.
Sailing past Henry Williams, he takes it about 5 yards into the end zone. He's out near the 12. Solid special team coverage by the Argos. Defense has really not been the problem, nor special teams in other ways. But the Argos have the Eskimos pinned deep in their own zone.
Well, I can't believe they're making the switch right now. I mean, that sends an awful message to Chris Vargas. The only thing you can think of is that, you know, maybe he was sent in with design plays and maybe called an audible and coughed up that interception. But, you know, Ron Lancaster's been around long enough to know that, you know, they've had everything their way, and, you know, he just doesn't want the flow of the game to change in a hurry, as it might.
At 24-10, the Argos definitely have an opportunity to get back in this one. Lucius Floyd as Bell keeps it on the ground in his first call. Carlos Fowler in on the tackle.
And a draw play is a tough play to run against that Toronto front four because they don't do a lot of stunting, and that means they just come straight up in their pass lanes, and when you run a draw, you're going to really count on your offensive lineman to make some super blocks. And Carlos Fowler just overpowered Steve Krupe to make that play.
Eskimos do have great respect for the Argo front seven. 2nd and 10. Bell goes to the shotgun. Fired one out for Shalon Baker, and he'll be stopped short of a first down near the 20. Joe Merrill over from the right cornerback spot to make the tackle. So it's 2 and out for Kerwin Bell. Harper heads on. Eskimos into a punting situation.
Once again, high percentage passing for Kerwin Bell to, try and go underneath the coverage and hope your receiver can get the first down. Baker just couldn't.
Let's go, D. Let's push the hand.
Harper not deep. Mike Clemens takes it right at midfield. Penalty markers everywhere. He lost the ball. Eskimos appear to have come up with it. And that's the indication. Jen Roberts on top of the fumble. 35-yard punt. There was no return. Eskimos get it right back, pending the call here. Penalty going against the Argos. So Edmonton. Possession at midfield.
Illegal block. Toronto number 85. Declined. First down.
Well, you talk about bad breaks, and look at Mike Farragelli shake his head as Mike Clements is hit by Scott McNeil right there, a reserve offensive lineman. The ball comes loose, and tough to see who makes the recovery. It really doesn't matter. Edmonton gets the ball, and boy, where Toronto Argonauts had the flow of the game, it looked like changed around. Edmonton gets it right back, and that tells a huge story of how this game has gone.
Bell swung it out for Lucius Floyd. Greg Eaglin moved up and had a chance to get his hands on the ball almost.
And now this is the difference you see in the change at quarterback. Kerwin Bell right away starts to throw the little swings. He threw the underneath to Shalon Baker. Vargas likes to use the slots and wide receivers more. And, for Kerwin Bell, here's a guy that completes 61% of his passes, but he only gains 6.5 yards every time. Now, guys like Flutie and Archer are up around 9. It's really high percentage, but you don't get it down the field in a hurry.
2nd and 10 Edmonton from midfield. Bell doesn't run up and takes off here. He won't get the first down. In fact, he gets manhandled down there. Steve Brannon, number 98, got to the Edmonton quarterback. He's been solid in his debut.
Well, this is an early look by Toronto. You see, when Carlos Fowler's offset by the line of scrimmage, you have a pretty good idea that he's coming on the stunt, and he actually is the one that gets the pressure. Steve Brannon takes 2 guys with him right there. See that? And all of a sudden, Fowler comes free. Now, that flushes Bell out of the pocket. You want to flush him out of the pocket. This isn't like a Flutie who you want to contain. You want to get this guy running and then take a shot at him. That's a heck of a job by Carlos Fowler.
Harper, high kick. Derek Branch. Another penalty. Jen Roberts leading the Eskimo tacklers. 28-yard punt, 5-yard return. Carlos Fowler, 3 sacks last week.
Look at the guns on him, and look at those arms. My, oh my.
4 yards. Edmonton number 28. First down.
Trent Brown that time. Number 28 inside the 5-yard area.
Look at the size. That's got to be 6 inches wide, those arms. I mean, that's bigger than some people's thighs, those things.
Yeah, that's wide. That's not around.
No.
It's not circumference, right?
No, that's wide. That's no, that's like about, I'd say, no, that's about 26 inches around. Those are big.
On first down. Austin to the near side. He has Jock climbing. Hagan forced him out.
No, that's funny the way this game has gone. I mean, it is only 24-10, but Ron Lancaster's team seems like they've been in control the whole way because their defense has played so well. But, if Kent Austin can get things sorted out here and get Toronto a touchdown or even a field goal for some for some flow. I mean, this game is far from over. We're only in the third quarter.
2:21 to go, third quarter. 2nd and 5 Argos. Austin to the far side that time, and Holland was, hang on. Mobley was covering, number 27, Fairholm, the intended receiver.
That's one of the advantages of having a linebacker like Singhor Mobley. He was a strong safety in college at Washington State, but he's strong enough to play linebacker. He's one of these guys that comes up as your strong side linebacker, originally a defensive back, and he can cover those inside receivers. I mean, Donnie Wilson does it for Toronto, Tracy Gravely in Baltimore. There's a bunch of guys that play that position, and Singhor Mobley, as a rookie, has played extremely well.
Gets it away. And the Giz waits at his 20. Away from the first 3 Argos, make it 3. Room to the far side for the Giz. Slowed down by the traffic. Now still going. He's amazing. All the way to the 45. It looks like he's stopped about 4 times on every return. And he finds a little bit of a hole.
Well, one of the problems when you're trying to tackle Henry Williams is you've got to wrap him up. Watch, there's about 3 arm tackles. There's one by Tate. Here comes another one by Ford. There's going to be another one by Tiggle right there. Those are all swats. I mean, that's like a fly swatter. You're not going to bring him down. He's got such a low center of gravity. He'll make you miss, and he makes him look foolish on that play.
45-yard return for Henry Williams. After a 46-yard punt, he's had a great night returning the football and had one long one called back.
And, of course, now Kerwin Bell gets to play on a short field here.
Beginning at the Argo 45. Bell on target. And away from the first wave of tacklers, this is C.J. Davis. England forced him out, but he's down near the 7. He had a shaky start, number 75, but he's made some plays.
Yeah, he really did, and he caught that one long post corner in the first half that set up a touchdown, and now another good catch. That's a good throw by Kerwin Bell to the outside. Tommy Henry can't make the play right there. There's about
tackling.
3 more missed tackles. Tell you what, Argonauts watch this film tomorrow. They're going to see 2 plays back-to-back where they missed about 7 guys missed.
38-yard gain setting the Eskimos up at the Argo 7. Kerwin Bell has a man wide open. Touchdown Edmonton. Michael Soles rushed for 1. Now he's received 1 from Kerwin Bell.
Well, it makes Ron Lancaster look pretty smart as a coach when he makes the quarterbacking switch, and Kerwin Bell comes in and directs the touchdown drive. And Michael Soles to the left of your screen just kind of sneaks out of the backfield, and nobody picked him up. And he just falls into the end zone. That's a pretty easy one. You know, it's funny. Toronto had a real chance late in the third quarter to really get back in this game, and then slowly it just kind of slipped away, and the Edmonton offense takes advantage and gets a touchdown. It's going to be tough to come back from this one.
Argos fumbled on a punt return. And then the Eskimos got a big one from the Giz to set them up deep in Argo territory. Now it's 31-10. Edmonton leading Toronto. Big swing last couple of sequences.
And the one good thing Kerwin Bell does as a quarterback, you always want to keep those feet moving. Look at his feet. They never stop, and he never just stays stationary. Even though he's a drop-back passer, keeps those feet moving and finds a target and gets the touchdown pass.
Nice to see for Kerwin Bell. It's a little heat on him as they went to Vargas as the starter tonight, so it's nice to see him get a chance to get into the game and move the team.
Well, Edmonton, you know, fans are used to having such terrific quarterbacks. You go back to Wilkinson, Moon, Lemmerman. Okay, Mike, we're giving you airtime. Go ahead. He didn't want to say anything. But, you know, Edmonton fans have been spoiled. Damon Allen, Tracy Hammond. Now all of a sudden, you know, you don't have an established quarterback, and you got guys like Vargas and Bell, and, you know, the fans are used to great ones, and, you know, they put a little heat on those 2 quarterbacks out there.
Mike Clemens beginning at the 10. Into a pile of people just across the 20-yard line. Brian Walling leading the Eskimo tacklers. 14-yard return after a 65-yard kickoff. And just 2 plays for the Eskimo to hit the end zone. The scoring drive brought to you by Pizza Hut Delivery. In a time of 1:02. Souls' second touchdown of the game, this one from Kerwin Bell.
Yeah, that drive was about as fast as Pizza Hut gets you that pizza. Only 2 plays to score the touchdown. I could go for one of those pizzas right about now. You know that? I shouldn't have looked at that graphic.
Dial the number and tell them where you are. Michael Souls was the Vanier Cup MVP at McGill in 1987.
Just to follow up on that penalty, it was Greg Eaglin who decided he would punch Robert Holland in the head. So the Argonauts get a roughing penalty and have to start at their own 12-yard line.
Offense still looking for a touchdown for Toronto. Reggie Barnes. Mobley was there to help out with Cavis Reed as well on the coverage, stopping Reggie Barnes.
Don, it's a great blend on defense of speed and strength. You know, with Tony Woods and Benny Goods, the 2 tackles, who are so strong and quick, and then you have the linebackers Blue and Malvin Hunter and Errol Martin on the outside. I mean, they plug up the middle. There's Benny Goods. He plugs up the middle with his buddy Tony Woods, but they have the speed, the flow to the football to stop the run.
Mazzotti can't make the catch. Nothing is going right.
Mazzotti is yet to catch a football tonight, and I mean, here's a guy that a week ago had 180 yards receiving on 9 catches. I mean, if he doesn't catch the football in the game for you, your chances of winning diminish in a hurry.
Only a quarter to go. Mazzotti should have made a catch. The Argos wouldn't be in quite as much trouble. They're down 31-10 to Eskimos on CFL Live.
Welcome back to CFL Control. They are underway in Taylor Field. The Rough Riders have yet to win there this season so far. They're 0-for, as in 0-for-3. And they're down 7-0 in this contest. A couple of safeties, and they're not saying Lou. They are saying boo. It is Taylor Field, and Lou hit a 45-yarder. It is now 7-0. Saskatchewan goes into the contest 1-5. BC goes into the game 5-1, looking to tie Calgary for the top record in the Northern Conference. Let's move on to a little baseball. The Montreal Expos back at it tonight as they are in the Astrodome taking on Houston, and things going relatively well for the Spos. Mike Lansing. He'll drive this Greg Swindell pitch into left field. F.P. Santangelo and Moise Alou both come in to score. It's a 2-run double. It's now 4-2 in the 6th inning of play. Pedro Martinez at the start in this game. He's looking to improve his record to 10-7 on the season. Houston has dropped 3 in a row. Milwaukee now leads Toronto 4-0 in the 3rd. This game was originally rain delayed. It's too bad it wouldn't have been rained out because the Jays had dropped 5 in a row. Won with the start, didn't last the 1st inning. Guzman has not won a game since July the 14th. He's 3-8 in this season. It looks as though he's going to take the loss in this contest and fall to 3-9 on the year. So far, the Edmonton Eskimos have pretty much dominated the Argos defensively. We'll wait and see if that happens in the 4th quarter as we go back to John and Leaf. Gentlemen?
Hey, what's up, E-Town? How's everybody doing back in Harvey, Illinois? What you say that day, baby? How you doing? Bailey, you all right? What up, baby?
Malvin Hunter has a touchdown tonight. Michael Souls has a couple. And the Argos have just won on an interception returned by Don Wilson as they trail Edmonton 31-10. Eskimos will have great field position if Baker does kick here. Henry Williams chased back to the 40. That gives him room to fire up. Here he goes again. Oh! Begins Henry Williams trying to go over the top, 23 yards on the return. Not quite as long as the last one, but a little more exciting.
Well, he has a feeling that, you know, he can break one every time tonight. You see he's running harder than he usually does, which is always good.
Argos have coughed it up 5 times. The Eskimos only once.
You know, look at this, though, John. I mean, look. 82 passing yards by the Argonauts in 3 quarters of football. Edmonton is the stingiest defense at 215. They're going to even better their average tonight.
From the 46 of Toronto on first down, Lucius Floyd had nowhere to go. Miller was in on the tackle, number 72.
Well, when you talk about special teams and defense, Henry Williams has certainly made his contribution tonight. And 8 punt returns, 210. You know, he'd be the first guy to tell you, boy, do my guys work hard to open some lanes for me up front. He's the best I've ever seen, you know, no question.
And having another sensational year. 23 career touchdowns on punt returns. Here's Kerwin Bell running smack dab into big trouble. Carlos Fowler made the final stop on Bell, but he really had nowhere to turn. Fowler was there. 3 sacks coming into tonight.
Yeah, I really think, you know, the Toronto defense has not played poorly tonight. They've been put in some awful positions by their offense and by special teams, allowing Edmonton a lot of yardage on kick returns. But, you know, guys like Carlos Fowler, you see, you know, only 3 sacks. Edmonton has 5. But I think this group's worked awfully hard.
Harper's kick. This is Mike Clemens. Needs a big return. Davis Reed leading the Eskimo tacklers, and that was a lot of running for 13 yards.
Well, it sure was. You know, you see the difference. The Edmonton cover team just stayed in their lanes, and they know that pinball's going to dance around. They let them dance around, and then they just kind of close in, but they stay in their lanes so well when they're covering those punts. Hey, something different. A penalty tonight.
Holding, Edmonton number 28. Repeat, 3rd down.
17th penalty of the ball game.
What I see the other night, the Memphis-Winnipeg game, there was 38 penalties.
Yeah, that's
that would have been a fun one to do.
Well, the flow of the game is often destroyed by too many penalties. I had a little misinformation. 28 penalties so far tonight, Leafs. 28 total. It felt like more than 17 for sure.
Sure did.
Harper across the 30 to get this kick away. Not quite as deep. Clemens again at the 25. And he's out near the 35-yard line. 14-yard return. John Kalin forced him out after a 43-yard punt. So Austin is back to see if he can improve on these numbers, and those are not great at all.
Yeah, that's it right there. You know, for a guy who came into the game with 6 touchdowns and 4 picks, he's now in the wrong side of the ledger with 7 interceptions and only 6 touchdown passes. And, well, I get, you know, I mean, you can talk about interceptions. Hey, that's important. But 82 passing yards on a team that doesn't run the ball well. I mean, you can tell why you're losing 31-10.
So much for the Argo Bomb Squad, at least tonight. And the running game not working very effectively when Benny Goods is all over top of number 31, Mike Clemens.
Benny Goods, an All-Canadian a year ago, missed the Hamilton game we did a few weeks ago, but he has come back with a vengeance. 6'3" and 260 pounds. He had 9 sacks this year, last year rather. He's going to be past that this year. I mean, he comes off that line of, I mean, he's just got springs in those legs, how quickly he gets upfield.
Loss of 4, 2nd and 14 here. Argo's back at the 34 as Austin stands in. Open man. He has Jock Climby. And he's been the most reliable Argo receiver in his comeback game tonight. Holland and Hagan. And penalty number 29.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out why Darian Hagan would take a punch at Climby's helmet at the end of this play. Here's a good job. Good move to the inside, freezes Hagan, and then back outside. Climby with the good catch. Obviously, the lone bright spot for the Argonaut offense tonight, his 7th reception. I don't know if we'll be able to let it go far enough, but Hagan, for some reason, decides that he's going to hurt Climby with a punch to the helmet and gets 15 yards.
Here's a number that they won't be happy with in the Argo room. Second first down for the Argos since the first quarter.
Well, that's it. The slap gets you 15. Kind of silly.
First down, Toronto. Here's Austin pumping once and looking for Mazzati. No catch. Mazzati wanted a call. Rogers was covering.
Well, this is tough for Paul Mazzati this game tonight. I mean, he has yet to catch a football. And well, you just look at the Argonaut pass distribution. Climby with 7 catches, Fairholm with a couple. And they're the only Argonaut players in their offense that have handled the ball through the air tonight.
Second and 10, Toronto at the 41. Trailing the Eskimos 31-10. Austin needs to make it happen here. Gets a catch. And that'll be a first down, I do believe. Mobley on the tackle.
That's a nice catch by Jock Climby. Boy, he went up and took that nicely in the hands, brought it down. You're going to get a good look at it. Mobley, the linebacker, you know, normally that's a nice matchup, but on a linebacker, but Mobley's like a defensive back in there. Good coverage, better catch.
Austin keeps it on the ground. A couple for Reggie Barnes, number 30. Climby has been the offensive star, as you say. 8 catches for 95 yards on the night.
Well, he's been the whole story. I mean, Fairholm has 16 yards receiving, so, I mean, Climby's the only guy that's been able to produce.
Second and 9. Austin went to Fairholm.
This is where Edmonton is so tough. Glenn Rogers, man-to-man, Jeff Fairholm. He just jammed him at 10 yards. And, I mean, Ken Austin knows the blitz is coming. He can't sit there all day hoping that Fairholm comes open. He's got to expect that he comes open. He lets the ball fly. But Rogers has jammed the receiver. There's no way they're going to complete the ball.
Third down and 9. The Argos have nothing left to lose. They'll go for it here. Here's Fairholm. Can't catch up with it. Rogers again covering on Jeff Fairholm. Did you like the gamble on 3rd and 9 with 10:22 to go?
Well,
or did you
I'm not sure it matters
more than the gamble?
I'm not sure it matters at this point, but you know, this has just been a superior defensive effort by Edmonton, and you know, Toronto just can't play with these guys tonight.
Eskimos are bombing the Argos. It's 31-10, fourth quarter at Skydome.
Welcome back to CFL Control. They are now in the second quarter in Saskatchewan. Sean Millington with a 1-yard plunge. It's now 14-0 for the BC Lions. Lions off to a great start this season. Looks as though Saskatchewan's huge 1-game winning streak is going to come to an end.
And here the Eskimos look to put an end to a 1-game losing streak. They're comfortably in front of the Argos, 31-10. Baseball tonight, Expos Astros, Thursday. First pitch at 7:30 Eastern on the Sports Network. Eskimos defense has provided a lot of power. The offense has scored 3 touchdowns. The Argo offense still looking to score a touchdown. Edmonton with the ball. Kerwin Bell hands to the second man through. It's Mazzoli on a little end-around play.
They've used that play a lot this season. That's the 7th time that Nick Mazzoli has carried the football and averaging over 11 yards every time he does it. So it's been a very successful play for the Eskimos.
Kerwin Bell in relief of Chris Vargas, who had the lead when he left the game. Bell has been good on 3 of 4 for 52 yards and engineered 1 touchdown. Second and 5, Eskimos at the 34. Bell stands in near side. As Shalon Baker. Baker couldn't hang out.
Eskimos on a 2-game Eastern swing. They play, of course, finish up tonight's game on Wednesday, and they'll stay in Burlington for a couple of days and practice there rather than go back to Edmonton. And then, of course, they go into Ottawa for a game on Sunday afternoon. So this is a little extended road trip for them. Not as bad as Baltimore's last week.
No.
3 games on the road in 10 days.
Eskimos playing in this current streak 7 games in 30 days. This is the tail end of it with 3 in 9 days now to finish it off, including this one tonight. 3-yard return. Trent Brown leading the tacklers. Pirates, the Tiger Cats at Ivor Wynn Friday will be there for a 7:30 kickoff. Can Forrest Craig make it 2 in a row for those Pirates?
Well, they had a great win over Winnipeg. Of course, Hamilton coming off a win against their rival here at Skydome when they beat the Argonauts last week in overtime. Sets up a pretty good matchup, and we'll have it for you Friday night here on CSN. Joe Barnes, the offensive coordinator against Shreveport, against receiving coach Terry Greer of Hamilton. Teammates, great teammates.
On first down, Austin in trouble again. Looking for an open receiver. Has Rob Creepo on the far side. In front of Hagan.
That's the first Argonaut tonight that's caught a ball other than Fairholm or Jock Climbing. Rob Creepo with his 20th catch on the season. I'm surprised they don't use Creepo more in the nickel kind of package. Toronto, for some reason, is reluctant to do that, to take out a back and put Creepo in as a 5th receiver, try and spread the defense out. Now, although they are doing it right now, you know, it's amazing why they maybe wouldn't go to this a little earlier.
Creepo got the first down. Play action, Austin. Sending Fairholm. Rogers was much closer to the ball, number 26, Glenn Rogers Jr. Austin and Fairholm, such a wonderful connection in the Saskatchewan days, and the last couple of times he's gone to Fairholm, they haven't connected or even been close to a connection lately.
You know, I haven't really asked Fairholm about this, but, you know, he's had knee problems, and he just does not look like the speedy Jeff Fairholm of old. Like, he's been matched up on Glenn Rogers all night, and he hasn't been close to getting in behind him.
2nd and 10, Austin is downed again. They're all celebrating around there, but I think it was Larry Ruck who was the first player to get Austin that time. Eskimo defense is rock solid.
Well, you know, the Eskimos, they're not letting up one bit on defense. Here's Willie Pless. Now, watch how he times it. He is moving at the snap of the ball, and there's just absolutely no way you're going to pick him up. Now, Pinball Clemens comes and gets the block on him there, but, you know, from that point on, it's all over. Larry Ruck will get the sack. But, you know, here it is, 31-10, halfway through the 4th quarter, and the Edmonton Eskimos are rushing 6 and 7 guys.
6 sacks on the night. Pierre Bercheville, an ex-Eskimo, is the injured player in the Argonaut roster right now. They'll try and patch him up, and we'll return to Skydome, where it's a long way back for the Argos.
Because you wear them till their tongues hang out, Micotin penetrates the skin to kill athlete's foot.
Willie Pless having a sensational night for the Edmonton Eskimos, so the Eskimos for that matter. Just about everyone. 31-10 is the score, and there's the scoring by quarters with Edmonton scoring 19 points in the second. Terry Baker in his first game for the Argos has missed a field goal. But punted pretty well. And here comes the Giz one more time. He is wonderful to watch. Dwayne Ford made the tackle. And there's a marker far side. He does it every night, Leaf. This is the amazing thing about number 2 for the Eskimos. 20-yard return here. They'll count a little back for a bad or an illegal block.
Illegal block. Edmonton number 24. First down.
What do you think he gives you to this game? I mean, is this not impressive? I mean, hey, at a 265 tonight, hey, that gets a serious okay. But I'll tell you what, per game, what he gives to this club, and remember, he hasn't played receiver a lot. You know, people know that he does play that position every once in a while, but that yardage has come on kick return.
Eskimos will have to begin back at the 15. Lucius Floyd ran over Peter Miller, who actually made the stop, number 72. This guy puts together pretty good all-purpose yards for the Eskimos as well, averaging 106.9 yards a game. Lucius Floyd running, receiving, and kick returning on occasion. On 2nd and 4, Bell to the near side, has Sandusky, turns it up, and has another Eskimo first down.
You know, we showed you what gives to his team every game all-purpose, but what's more impressive to me, he's over 18,000 yards, combined yardage. I mean, that's everything he has ever done. You know, rushing the football, receiving the football. 18,000, he's around 18,800 yards. Now, how many miles have those legs run? I mean, that's a lot.
And you got to watch his warm-up before the game. He does an awful lot out there before it begins. The Mazzoli reverse again. And that works for 10 yards and another Edmonton first down.
Yeah, it's a tough one for Toronto. You know, unless Paul Mazzotti's involved in the game, it's going to be very difficult for their offense to function at a high level. And, you know, Jim Sandusky, that's not a lot of yardage, but 6 possession-type receptions, which is what their offense is based around now. That's a good night for him. He's kind of like the old assistant coach, too. He gets his picture in the coach's part of the media guide and in the player part. Although he coached in training camp, he doesn't do a lot right now. Powell does most of the offensive stuff.
On 1st and 10, Lucius Floyd. Barrow's slowed him down, but he's near the 50-yard line. 5:44 to go on a long night for the Argos.
Well, you know, John, the Argonaut defense really hasn't let down, but you can just see it here. I mean, you kind of get the feeling that this one is a foregone conclusion that Edmonton will win, and just not nearly as aggressive as they were halfway through the 3rd quarter.
And Lucius is still running. Well, into the 4th quarter at 31-10 with a big advantage.
I mean, there's no question human nature tells you when you're winning, it's easier to keep your level up.
4 for Floyd. This is 2nd and 6, Edmonton. Bell fakes once and tries the old statue again. Brannon made the tackle on Lucius Floyd in the backfield.
Now, Steve Brannon, he's still trying pretty hard. Here he is at the top of the screen now. You know, he just fights through, and they've seen this play about 5 times now. And, you know, he's looking for it. See his eyes, he's looking sack first. And now he had such good penetration, he's able to make the tackle on the Statue of Liberty. He's going to be a good one. You know, if he can stay healthy, he's going to help this club.
Harper nails this one. Pinball chase back inside the 20. By the first guy down, that was J.P. Esquerdo, former Argonauts. Gain is limited to 5 yards, 4:48 to go. And the Argos are almost done at Skydome, trailing Edmonton 31-10 in the 4th.
CFL Live on TSN, brought to you by All Sport, the new All Sports drink for athletes. All Sport, the game will never be the same. And by Bell Advantage Long Distance Services, from the Alliance of Canada's only full...
31-10. Edmonton leading Toronto. Long night for Bob Obilovich, the general manager, watching from upstairs.
Wow, how frustrating is it for Bob Obilovich? I mean, you know, this on paper is such a high-power, potent offense. Tonight, only 170 yards. They average 350 a game, so they're not even just a little under halfway there of their norm.
From the 22, Marvin Graves back in at quarterback. Almost picked off on a deflection. Fairholm had his mitts on it. And Trent Brown had an opportunity there. Are these Argo receivers interested tonight or what?
Well, I don't think anybody's on their side's too interested now. Look at the possessions tonight that Toronto Argonauts have had on offense. And Well, the defense scored the only touchdown, Don Wilson's interception, but the offense just tough, you know. So if you're Bob Obilovich, you've gone out, you've signed made the deal for Kent Austin, you've signed Jock Klimey, you've got Chris Giostis as a free agent, and all of a sudden, nothing's firing.
Graves to the near side, and it was almost picked off out of bounds. Fairholm, the intended receiver, and Rogers covering. His hands on it, not able to squeeze it, however.
You know, there's two things that are really evident tonight, and, you know, Glenn Rogers really typifies that. Number one, they know they're going to get good pass rush up front, so they can take some chances and be a little more aggressive. Number two, the way they're playing, they have no regard for speed in Toronto's receiving corps. They're just saying, hey, we don't think these guys can get by us deep. And I mean, every time they're throwing outs and hooks, the secondary of Edmonton has better chances of making catches than the Toronto receivers do.
Well, we'll see if the Giz can light the place up again, even though he's not in Edmonton. Lost the ball. Argos have a chance. And poor Argos had a chance at it. Finally, they get the ball. Aaron Tate's coming up with it. Kind of night it's been for Toronto. The Giz bobbled that one. It seemed to me that at least 3 Argos had a chance to recover the fumble. The fourth guy, Tate, comes up with it. Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be an Argo first down, though, with 3:45 to go. You were talking about speed. Are you suggesting that the Argos simply don't have enough speed to match up against the Eskimo secondary and speed in their receiving corps?
Yeah, it doesn't appear that way. Now, you know, not that the Toronto receiving corps is slow. I mean, they're not really slow, but you combine that with an aggressive secondary and a good pass rush. I mean, Edmonton's guys could take a few more chances because they're, number one, not worried about being deep. But, I mean, this tonight has been a mismatch for Ken Austin's receiving corps. They just have not been able to get open.
Austin watches. Marvin Graves quarterbacks the Argos, who have turned it over 6 times. Graves well off the mark. Fairholm was the intended receiver. All the news, scores, and highlights at 11 o'clock on Sports Desk with Brendan Connor and Teresa Herger at 11 o'clock Eastern. That's 8 Pacific time.
And I'm sure they'll tell you that Monica Seles will be here in Toronto to play in the tennis tournament at York University. That's going to be kind of fun. See her back in action.
Marvin Graves missed on his first 6 passes. Another marker down as he connects with Jeff Fairholm. We'll check out the infraction. Numbers on Austin, who I assume has finished for the night leaf. 11 of 28 for 126 yards. 3 interceptions. Not production. And not what the Argos were expecting from a guy of Austin's caliber and history in the Canadian Football League.
Offside. Toronto number 18. Second down repeat.
32nd penalty of the ball game goes to Jeff Fairholm. Eric White had a start and beat the Ottawa Roughriders. There are the penalties. Edmonton has taken 16 for 150, the majority of the yardage, but Eskimos done a lot of other things right.
Well, it doesn't get any easier for the Toronto Argonauts. They're on a short week themselves. They've got a home game again on Monday that you and I will broadcast against the BC Lions. So for Mike Faragelli, I mean, it gets tougher, and the Monkeys get pretty large on his back at a record of 2-4, which will go to 2-5. You got the BC Lions coming in. Hey, things are not looking that great.
Things are looking fine for the Giz and the Eskimos at 31-10.
Welcome back to CFL Control in Taylor Field. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are now down by 10. It is 17-7 in the second quarter. How about Danny McManus? He went into tonight's contest with 6 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, but his team's 5-1. They've got a great ground game, and that can make a big difference. Let's go back to John and Lee.
And here for the final 3 minutes and 1 second between the Argos and the Eskimos. Toronto's second and 15 is Graves. Has it picked up, intended it for Brent. This is Cavis Reed, had an interception in his first game. This is his second game and his second interception. Ran out of gas near the 35. I don't see any markers anywhere, Leaf.
Well, once again, just another example of an Edmonton defensive back leaving his man and helping out somewhere else. Robert Holland has done it tonight, and now Cavis Reed in his second game, as John mentioned. See, he's got Branch coming in there. Just, you know, the ball is overthrown, so he just slides over here and waits for the ball to get to him. I mean, you know, it's not giving anything up deep. Gets the hit in there from Mobley to help him out a little bit. Boy, oh boy, this secondary has had a great night.
Nice little 45-yard return with a little razzle-dazzle added to it. Toronto's 7th turnover.
First down, Argos. Eskimo 30-yard line.
Nice addition to that secondary has been Cavis Reed. I mean, I think it makes him a better group. Hagan has had 2 interceptions moving inside, and Holland's played tough on the corner.
Well, somehow or other, they don't rule that an interception. I didn't see a flag out there, Leif, and I'm sorry I missed the call. Marvin Graves looks to the end zone right here and can't connect. Rosati can't make the catch. Rogers up in the first row.
He's up in the good ship Argonaut there. Wow, you should see him. Not only does it mess up the flow of the game, I mean, you know, that's just too many. Edmonton, to their credit, can overcome 17. Toronto, you know, they simply can't.
Graves cut from behind. Malvin Hunter makes the tackle with 2:26 to go. Edmonton on top 31-10, and an injured Eskimo there looks to be Benny Goods.
Benny Goods, who gets up the field so quickly, and you watch, here he is right here, and watch as he starts coming around this way. I couldn't see who actually picked him off, but somebody got him. Sorry, I got it wrong. He jumped on the side. Watch to the right of your screen. Boom. P.J. Gleason, 54, got just a block on him just as he was moving in to try and get a hand on Marvin Graves.
Ron Lancaster takes the Eskimos on to Ottawa for a date on Sunday afternoon.
And he wants to take on a healthy Benny Goods with him, I'm sure of that. Well, when you start reaching up in the shoulder there, you hope it's just one of those burners or stingers that the linemen get every once in a while and they can shake it off.
It's been a long time to get over 500 as a head coach in the Canadian Football League for Ron Lancaster. He is at 500 tonight, 55 wins and 55 losses as a CFL head coach. His record in Edmonton has been excellent, but there were those 2 years in Saskatchewan where winning was a little tough.
Does he not look like a defensive tackle? I mean, he got the good sweat going on, the bald head tonight, and you know, when you get those big eyes looking at you through the face mask, he's an intimidating kind of player.
Argos watching, or looking, I should say, at 3rd and 7.
Got it.
With 2:10 to go.
You gonna wait after the game?
The officials have been at center stage a lot.
With the game time clock, please be reset to what it was when the last play ended, please.
Well, that's a fault of not the football teams. There are too many flags out there. They just needed to reset the clock.
There was no timeout called. The clock's
Ronnie, easy on the blood pressure. Hey, you know,
They need 3 touchdowns to tie you, Ron.
Well, he's working the officials a little bit here. I'm sure he doesn't like the way the game has gone penalty-wise as well, although, you know, I'm sure his team was deserving of all 16 that they've had.
.226. I guess that is now the official time on the clock. 3rd and 7. Argos at the Eskimo 27. Marvin Graves can't get it away. Another sack for the Eskimos. Malvin Hunter is celebrating.
As soon as the injury's over. Well, tell him to learn the rules, man. You know what? The game tonight, they just killed him.
You hear what Ronnie said? He said, I don't know what game you're watching tonight, but you've killed it. I don't disagree with a lot of that.
There has been confusion out there. But you know, when it slows down and when you get a CFL game going over 3 hours, that's not the way it was meant to be, unless there's overtime.
No, this is Don Ellis's first year as a head referee, so, you know, maybe he's a little more intent on getting all the stories from the linesmen working this year. But my, oh my, they have slowed this down to a crawl.
Curlin Bell, and they tried the statue to C.J. Davis this time, and he'll stagger for a first down. 2:08 to go. Long night at the Skydome, particularly for the Argos and their fans. The offense hasn't worked, and the defense has been out there too long. I think maybe making the Eskimo offense look a little better than perhaps it is at times.
Well, to Edmonton's credit, you know, they've shown some neat things tonight with the Statue of Liberties have done well, and that guy there, Glenn Rogers, he's had some kind of night on defense. But
talk about showing different things. CJ was the 8th Eskimo to run the ball tonight.
Well, you know, when you look at Edmonton's offense, yardage really hasn't been a problem, but production has been.
Robert Holland got a new hairdo to begin 1995.
Shut out on this side, nothing. Close the whole side down. Door closed. Close the reconstruction. We came with handcuffs and no keys. Toronto now. We don't close Toronto down and no keys. Handcuffs, baby. That's our D-line. That's our D-line. See what I'm saying? 43.
Handcuffs with no keys. You gotta like it. Rogers and Holland on the same side. Pretty tough.
This is C.J. Davis going the other way. It's at the 50-yard line with 1:24 to go. Carlos Fowler in on the tackle. When I was talking about the Eskimo offense looking better than maybe it is, I mean, they've got a lot of changes in here as far as the receiving corps is going, and put up 339.7 on average.
And that really illustrates how they win with defense and special teams, to be below your average and dominate and win a game quite easily by 21 points. Pretty interesting graphic right there.
Harper will kick from his 35. Trying to take as much time off the clock as he can. Bobbled it, still got it away. Not much chance for a return by Pinball, who lost the ball. And another marker is down as the Eskimos appear to have recovered it. Kalen on top of the ball. Pinball definitely touched it. One more marker. Mike Fergelli has to be wondering.
No yards. Edmonton number 19. First down.
No yards called against Kalen, who ended up recovering the loose ball. I thought it bounced off Pinball, but
I'll tell you, the happiest guy in this park tonight is probably just to the left of Mike Fergelli, and that's Eric White. He didn't have to play.
horrible.
There he is.
He didn't make a mistake unless he dropped the clipboard.
Yeah, he's gone from first stringer down to third team now, and you know, he didn't have to take a hit tonight or go through this aggravation of getting hammered.
And that's what the Eskimos have done to the Argos. Mazzotti gets a catch. I think that's his first of the ball game. 43 seconds to play.
I'll bet you see them laughing. They're juicing them. They're just saying, you know, hey, we'll let you have one. It's the final minute. We don't want you to feel bad all night. We'll let you have one catch. I'll guarantee you. That's what they're saying to him out there.
Back it up.
Back it up, please.
12 yards from Mazzati, 43 seconds on the clock. Mercifully, this will end soon for the Argos. Graves will take one more sack. Chad Roberts celebrating that one. 8 sacks by the Eskimos so far tonight. Argos got to Edmonton quarterbacks 3 times.
Shot at Jed Roberts. He was playing for Benny Goods. I'm trying to see if Goods is still on the bench.
Shoveled ahead, and Reggie Barnes was the intended receiver, and Larry Ruck was there to tip it away. .25 seconds to go. Lancaster and the Eskimos moving to 5-2 on the season. They have the Ottawa Roughriders on Sunday. Argonauts dropped to 2-5. And looking back, the Argos have played 2 overtime games and 2 one-point games, losing 3 of those 4. Tonight, they really weren't in this one.
This was a stinker tonight.
Baker can't get a kick away, throws the pass.
Give the Edmonton Eskimos credit, though, John. I mean, this is a team in transition, too. They've made a lot of changes, and, you know, this team has come together and gelled in a hurry. Talk about defense. Hagen's new. Tavis Reed is new. Mobley is new. Offensively, C.J. Davis, Baker, Mazzoli. I mean, that's a lot of changes on one club.
And both quarterbacks.
Both quarterbacks.
Vargas was around last year, but certainly didn't see much action.
Through 19 balls. So, I mean, you're talking, well, what's that, 7, 8 changes right away, and this team is going to move to 5-2 on the season. A very credible record. So you look at Pow, Lancaster, Rich Stupler, Reinbold, guys like that. Done a nice job coaching this club.
Time ticking down, and it can't end soon enough for the Argos. Edmonton with the ball and not really looking toward the end zone, just looking to get the time off the clock and get out of Skydome. Frustrating first year for Mike Farragelli as a CFL head coach.
Well, frustrating when you think that expectations in training camp were so high with the talent level. All of a sudden, I mean, the air is definitely out of the balloon, and like, where do you go from here? I mean, is it a talent problem? I don't know. Is it a coaching problem? That's hard to believe. I mean, the players have to play for you, and offensively tonight it was just a miserable night. 31 points. The defense for Toronto can't be faulted. So for Mike Farragelli, I mean, this is the one that you really got to sit down and think, is it the right kind of team that I have here?
Last offensive touchdown for these Argonauts was July 22nd against Shreveport. That's 3 games ago. And there was only 1 touchdown tonight. And you had the feeling when Don Wilson made the interception that maybe there might be life if the offense could come out and even get a couple of field goals the next couple of possessions. But the Eskimos turned it off pretty quickly.
For a moment, it looked like the Toronto Argonauts might fight their way back in. But with that victory by Edmonton tonight, they move to 5-2 with 10 points. Keep in mind, BC is playing in Saskatchewan and leading that game right now, so they may keep pace with Calgary, who has played 1 game less than the BC Lions.
Pete Laverato, an assistant coach, and the head coach, Ron Lancaster, into the dressing room, satisfied with a defensive performance tonight that was outstanding, and an offense that put some touchdowns on the board as well. There's the final from Skydome as we send you back to CFL control.
Thank you very much. Once again, the Edmonton Eskimos dominate this game by a score of 31-10. You know, the Eskimos have not lost a game in the North Division. It is going to be a battle, somewhat of a dogfight to make the playoffs. The top 5 teams advance to the postseason in the North. The Eskimos know that. Ronnie Lancaster knows that. You have to have a good divisional record. The Edmonton Eskimos have just that. Joining us now live from Sky Dome is the Edmonton Eskimos linebacker, Larry Ruck. Hey, Larry, how you doing?
Darren, good to see you.
It's good to see you, too, again. We appreciate you taking the time. I thought this truly was just a fantastic game for the Eskimos defense. You guys dominated.
It was. You know, we've lost 2 of our last 3 games, so we came in here not worrying too much about Toronto and their record and so on, but just stayed focused and knew that we had to win tonight to, you know, keep pace with the other teams in the Northern Division that are leading, and so we went out tonight and played hard. It was just one of those effort games, you know, everybody making plays everywhere. There was no real secret to it. We ran a pretty simple defense tonight, but we kept the pressure on, and guys, you know, didn't make too many mental errors. And when you play aggressive and you play smart like we did tonight, this is the end result.
It really was an aggressive game for you guys tonight. You guys end up with 8 sacks in the football game. I thought your defensive front line and the linebackers and the blitzes and the schemes that you chose were pretty solid tonight. I know the boys are giving you a little bit of a razzing out there, but I was saying that the Eskimos scheme tonight really seemed to work with 8 sacks, basically everything you threw at them. I know you were doing a lot of stunning on the line. Really worked out for you guys.
Yeah, it did. The key to that, though, was we had to cover behind the guys up front, give them some time to get there, and that's the way that most of our sacks came tonight. Were coverage sacks. Quarterback was holding the ball. We forced him to hold the ball with good coverage in the secondary. You know, we got a bunch of sacks tonight, and that's good because, you know, those guys work so hard up there all the time and get very little credit, so it was good to see those guys get in the limelight a bit tonight.
Now, the offense, once again, tonight, it really didn't look like they were that efficient out there, but yet they continue to get the job done. You bounce back between Chris Vargas and Kerwin Bell. How much controversy has there been in Edmonton? Because we heard there's been a lot about Bell and Vargas and Bell and Vargas and who's the bona fide starter, although it doesn't look like Ronnie at this particular time is going to pick either of the 2 guys.
It doesn't look that way. It looks like they're, you know, both going to be given a shot when earlier in the year, you know, when Kerwin hasn't been able to get it done, then Chris goes in, and tonight, you know, Chris was doing a pretty good job, but I guess they wanted to show that, you know, that certainly we have faith in Kerwin as well, so slipped him back in there to hope to get something going, and so it's good. We got a good tandem in the 2 of them, and you know, as long as we're winning, then I'm sure things will continue. Both of them will continue to develop, and that's what we need. We need to get them both playing.
Larry, yourself and Willie Pless are off to another fantastic start. The Eskimos are off to a pretty good start at 5-2. I think if you would have went into this season at this point in time and take a look at your record prior to the year beginning, you'd be pretty happy with that. I think things have gone relatively well for your club with all the changes.
Yeah, you know, we're 5-2, and that's a pretty good start. It's you know, we wish we were 7-0, and I think we could easily be 7-0 with a break here and there, but you know, you're going to lose some close ones, you're going to win some close ones, and we got to win more games like this tonight. Just go out and dominate right from the start, and you know, never let the other team in it.
Well, that was the case tonight. Larry, we appreciate you taking the time. We know we don't want to head into the locker room. Have a good trip back. Thanks very much tonight. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks, Dutchie.
Once again, the Edmonton Eskimos take it to the Toronto Argonauts tonight by a score of 31-10. We'll take a short break. Stay tuned. We are back with more in just a few moments.
Time now for the TSN Turning Point. We go to the 3rd quarter.
Well, John, the Toronto Argonauts have scored a touchdown on Don Wilson's interception. It was 24-10, and the defense held. They were going to get the ball back, but Mike Pinball Clemens fumbles the football. The Edmonton Eskimos recover, go on to score a touchdown, and really put this game away.
A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Coaching Association on behalf of TSN and Turning Point. Well, I wonder where the Argos go from here. They've got some quarterbacking problems. Kent Austin has a tough night. And when you look at BC coming in here on Monday, who do you start at quarterback?
Well, I don't know. I think you go right back to Austin. I mean, you made the big offseason trade for him, and this was a tough night for him. 11 of 29, not great. But, hey, Marvin Graves comes in and is 1 for 9, misses his first 7. So I don't think there's any question they wanted to give Marvin Graves some playing time. But, boy, if it's me on Monday, I'm right back with the guy that they're going to count on.
And as you look at the Edmonton Eskimos, it was pretty hard to describe that defensive performance tonight. It was really overpowering. The Argos weren't able to respond to the defensive charge.
No, they were overmatched tonight. There was no way. You see the final numbers from tonight's game, and the Argonauts with only 11 first downs tells you that they were totally snuffed out by that Edmonton defense, and Edmonton's 247 passing. That's a good night for them, but boy, oh boy, I tell you, Edmonton, they did it the way they always do it, special teams and defense.
And 8 turnovers by the Argonauts, way too many to even come close in a football game, as we send you back to Darren.
Thanks very much, gentlemen. You talked about the Edmonton Eskimos defense, and you talked about their special teams winning this football game. When you think of special teams, you think of one player for the Eskimos. He is the most prolific punt returner the Canadian Football League has ever seen. Henry Gizmo Williams now joins us live from Skydome. Giz, we appreciate you taking the time. You had a fantastic game tonight. Every time you touched the ball, it was giving your club instant field possession.
Yeah, no, it was strange that they didn't know I was going to be able to play this week because I pulled my groin last week in the game. But I told Ronnie, just let me go out there and do what I can on it. When I'm full speed, I'm 100%. When I'm half speed, I'm probably maybe about 65. So I told him, just let me go this week.
Well, you sure look good tonight. Do you have any problems with the leg at all?
Just a little bit, but when you get in a groove like that, you don't want to come out. If it blow out, it blow out. What the hell? You just got to go for it. And sometime in football, you got to play hurt, and a lot of time, that's when you play your best game when you're hurt, because you got to concentrate a little bit more.
You know what, Giz? I like your attitude, and it seems to typify special teams because they call it suicide squads. Here you've got a group of guys coming downfield, running as fast as they can with one intention, to take your head off. And yet you relish that. You enjoy it. You grab the ball, and you're gone. It's that type of mentality that makes a person successful, isn't it?
Yeah, but the most important thing, you got to give it to the guys, the other 11 guys that make blocks for me. Unfortunately, I've been with a team where a lot of guys always, bust their butt for me. They believe in me. They always say, Giz, if you make one guy miss, we're going to be down there waiting on you. So a lot of times, my job is to make another guy miss, and they just make great blocks. Old as I'm getting, but they got to make a lot of more blocks for me.
Yeah, old as you're getting. You had 9 returns for 230 yards tonight. 230.
So I broke my record, huh?
Now you're over 8,000 yards. 8,000. That's almost unbelievable. At times, do you look at it and say to yourself, do you find it rather striking as well?
Yeah, I never really realized I was that close, but just like I say, it's going to show Gizmo Will 8,000, but the rest of the guys make it happen for me all the time. Just like I say, I just want to give them guys the glory. I'm just going to keep running the ball. I know I'll probably be in the record book, but you don't see guys like Whitty Pless, John Cato, Glenn Rogers, all these guys, Tober, these guys make it happen for me. And that's all about it. It's a team sport. It's a team effort. Everybody got to do their job. It's not just me back there running the ball. Everybody got to make a block or whatever, and I just try to, do the best I can.
Well, you're a modest man, Giz.
Can I say hi to some people back home?
Well, sure you can.
Well, it's a free time. I want to say hi to my little boys, Henry and Marcus and Lisa and my best friend, Terry. Everybody in Edmonton will see you when we get there.
Hey, thanks very much.
Thanks
Henry Gizmo Williams. We appreciate it, Giz.
All right.
Once again, the Edmonton Eskimos with Gizmo Williams were rather large victors tonight. There was no question about that. And John and Leaf raised some interesting points. What happens now? What happens now to the Toronto Argonauts organization? Wayne Lamley was taking all the heat, but he's gone. You kind of get the feeling that it's now going to be shifted and focused upon Mr. Faragelli.
Well, I think that's a decent guess because it has been a very difficult start for the Toronto Argonauts. There were games the Argos could have won this season. Tonight didn't happen to be one of them. But you have to wonder what move might be next. And you have to wonder where the receivers have gone. I mean, they've built up the bomb squad and Kent Austin, and the receivers were really not a big factor today.
That's a lot of stuff you've given me here, but let's go back to coaching right off the bat. Listen, Mike Faragelli early in the season made some mistakes, no question about that. He would be the first to admit it. Now, he didn't make mistakes tonight. His team just didn't play that well, or maybe that's their potential and they're overmatched by Edmonton. But if you're Mike Faragelli, you got to take a serious look at things. I mean, personnel-wise, this is not a bad football club, but they are not performing and they are not producing. That falls on the coach's shoulders. He's the one that's going to have to answer. And, you know, you don't want to talk about changes. It's only 2-5 and it's early. But, hey, the way the playoff format lies now, 8 Canadian teams, only 5 are going to qualify. You get behind by a big bit early, you're not going to get back into it.
It'll be tough to catch up. Now, the Eskimos have made a lot of changes, and particularly on offense this year. So they've waited for the offense to come around. And when they looked at coming into this season, they looked at different areas of the team that were going to keep them in games. Number 1 was defense. Number 2, special teams. And number 3, offense. Now, that's pretty well the way they did things tonight, isn't it?
That's exactly the way they did things tonight. It's a high percentage passing offense, and that's what they did. Only one mistake all night. Chris Vargas, he throws the interception. Wilson gets the touchdown, the only one that Toronto scored tonight. Vargas gets the hook right after that, by the way, which I was a little surprised with. Kerwin Bell came in. But, hey, listen, they know the way their team is structured. And, you know, if you win 2 out of 3, any coach will tell you, you win 2 out of those 3 categories, and your chances of winning a game are pretty good. And Edmonton does that on most nights, so they can play and win that way.
Tonight, they won all 3 of those categories.
You know what's another point, though, to be made, John, is, I mean, you mentioned it. Edmonton made about 7 or 8 major changes this year. They are functioning. Toronto's made some changes too, but they are just not functioning. So you tell me, what's the problem? I don't know.
We're not sure about that. Perhaps we'll find out a little more later in the week. Certainly we'll watch with interest when BC comes to town on Monday, as we send you back now to CFL Control.
Hey, thanks very much, John and Leif. We're going to take another short break here at TSN. We're back in just a moment. Stay tuned.